Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Tech Talk. We have a loaded panel today with some really awesome guests, so stick around, put all of your questions in the chat. We'll try to get to as many as possible when we're not asking questions amongst ourselves, and enjoy. Hey everybody, look at this crazy panel we have before you. We've got K4K, we've got the Grand Ayatollah, Rags to Riches, we got Goldman Hex, who taught me how to play craps recently. We've got David Feeder, and we've got Dixon Piper. So we've got a lot to cover, a lot to go over today. It's been really exciting, especially with the pumps going on lately. What do you guys think about the nice little pumps back up to 15 cents?
It's pretty awesome.
Feels good. Yeah.
I don't really watch the price, honestly, anyway. But, like, if it's up, it's like a cooler day, I guess. But, like, I'm just busy making content regardless what the price is because I know where it's going. So, but, a lot of people do care about the price. So, for them.
Yeah. I think people had a tendency to, like, not everybody, but some people had a disbelief that, I set my money in for Pulse and I'm getting worried. And, like the beginners that, there's a lot of beginners in this space. So
it's their first rodeo.
Yeah. They're like, I sent all this money in, or I bought Hex, the price went down. And then as it's down, I sent the money into the sacrifice. And now I'm like at a loss of a loss. I don't know. It's perception, right?
If they put any money into most projects in the last 9 months, they're at a loss. So it's like, are you at a loss in this one or another one? Well, which ones have the longer time horizon and have amazing track record? At least you're in one that has a great track record for recovering from dips. You don't want one of those ones that makes new lows every day. Like these aren't new lows. They're just they're still way above 7 months ago. So
it used to be when Lambo, and now it's Lambo tomorrow.
Let's before we get ahead of ourselves, let me introduce two people. Everyone knows K4K. Unless they've been living under a rock. Unfortunately, people are familiar with Rags.
What do you have against the rock?
Because he's all over the place. Let's introduce, we got Goldman Hex. Some of our company or some of our viewers may not be familiar with Goldman Hex. So let's introduce you and we'll go down the panel.
Sure. Hi, Goldman Hex. Been involved in crypto since the early days, 2011-ish. I was introduced to the Silk Road, and I was told I could buy a Hitman or guns or
remind me to stay on your good side. Yeah.
Well, I wasn't in the market. Okay. I wasn't. I'm gonna try to make this very short because I don't want to hijack this episode. But I was introduced to crypto through the Silk Road by somebody else that had mentioned it. And they said, yeah, you get these Bitcoin things, and basically you can buy a Hitman, you can buy guns, you can buy drugs, or you can buy a Cobra Snake. So I was like, the Cobra Snake sounds kind of cool. I want to have I'm
glad you picked that one.
Well, I want to have a Cobra Snake in a basket and a backpack, and then have service animal printed on there because that's the new modern day, service animal for everybody. I don't know. So yeah, that was my introduction to crypto in 2011. I didn't even know that Bitcoin was tradable or anything like that. And then I had a Russian guy asking me to pay him in crypto in the following years for some music. And I saw Ethereum at $6 and the rest is kind of history from there.
Sweet. Goldman Hex for president. You already got a nomination in the chat. That's pretty official.
They won't ever elect a Jew as a president. I'm sorry.
Yeah. And then we've got
but they just won't.
We've got David Feeder. Everyone knows him and equally well his beard. The tech guy that I don't know if you even sleep anymore. I feel like every time I turn on a stream, you're there just spitting knowledge. You and K4K both. So that's awesome.
David, is it true that you and your validator, you and your beard have separate validators?
That's lies and propaganda. I'm sorry.
Okay. Wasn't sure.
The beard has a validator. I don't.
Ah! There we go.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And then we got hit up. I ran into Dixon Piper 69 here on the panel. You want to introduce yourself and let us know how you got into Hex and your little bit about your background?
Sure. I guess it's probably about the same as a lot of the early Hex people. Got my face wrecked off in 2016, 17. Got into Hex, listened to Richard. Pretty much the same as like what Tendies was saying last week, where he wasn't a big fan of Richard, but he listened to people he doesn't like and kind of realized that this guy was going to make something other people. He was going to make something that was going to outperform everybody else's other stuff. And if you should put your bias aside back then, you knew he was actually going to do it. But I don't know. I put in through the AA and then it just kind of kept going up. And I kind of got off social media because I ran a few businesses back then. I was on a TV show. I started producing TV shows. And then I got frustrated with all that kind of stuff because of the whole, if people know you, they hate you kind of situation. So kind of got off Facebook, got off Twitter, got off everything while Hex was just sitting here mooning for 2 years. And I'm not a trader. I'm a guy that just, I can delete Metamask off my computer for years plus at a time and just not get tempted to sell. But I mean, I kind of thought this was going to be a bear market, and I thought the most potential to make more coins is in a bear market. And if you try to make more coins in a bull market, you're going to get slaughtered trying to sell tops and buy bottoms, because you're going to get slaughtered doing that because you're going to get left behind. But this is a good opportunity. And I pretty much seen like just the sentiment inside the community through this bull market. I mean, I came to Twitter like 2 months ago, and I seen the sentiment around things, and I was just like, man, I wish I could kind of put my voice in here of like why this is actually a good thing and not just Hex is dead, death kind of. I mean, that's the kind of sentiment we were getting. Was there was extreme Hex skins that didn't want anybody else joining the project, and there's just a lot of different things I didn't really care for, and figured I'd just start kind of putting my voice in there and kind of, if I could, teach some people not to get slaughtered all the way down the bear market, so we have more better user experience for more people when we do actually find a bottom, whether this was or not. I hope it is, but I'm not holding my breath on this week's rally. But I don't know, just pretty much just trying to get people to have kind of a sense of like what's going on with the market, to where we don't lose so many users before we start going up again, pretty much. So figured I'd just kind of start putting my opinions in.
Awesome. Good to have you here. And you are also the one that was saying, let's listen to our enemies, strategically. Right. Let's cover that kind of idea and get a response from the panel.
So if you didn't listen to your enemies, a lot of people did not like Richard back in 2017. If you didn't like Richard back in 2017, that was a big mistake on your part if you couldn't realize what he was doing here. And that's the thing. Like, everybody just has a pure hatred for Tone Vase or a pure hatred for people that trade. But it's like, you need to listen to some of these people, because if we get into our own little bubble of just being Hex is the best, it's always going to be the best, there's no other better thing, which I think it is right now. But if you don't at least hear what the outside world is talking about outside of the community bubble, then there's a chance you could end up like a guy that's in EOS or Tron or Ripple, where you could get stuck in something that never goes up again. If you have too much of a maximalist mentality. And I'm always going to be in Hex,
is coming out.
Right. Yeah. And,
oh boy.
So that's just kind of what I think about. And like, yeah, I would never take Tone Vase advice on if the market's bullish. But the thing is, like, he's so biased towards Bitcoin that if he's bullish on Bitcoin, he could be biased and just say it's going up, just like he did the entire time it's gone down from $69,000. Tone Vase has been sitting here saying it's just a correction. Well, it's been a correction for like 6 months now. But the thing is, when he actually does go bearish on Bitcoin, that's really bad for Bitcoin. If somebody that is so biased that they say anything good about it they can is actually bearish on it, it usually is bearish. So I'm not saying that everybody needs to go listen to Tone Vase because he is wrong about a lot of shit, but to put it into perspective, I mean, you can actually learn something from listening to people outside of our own bubble.
Awesome. Any comments on that from K4K Rags, Goldman, David's beard?
I think it's important to have your I think it's important to have your kind of finger on the pulse of things that are going on outside.
No pun intended.
Yeah, I tried not to do it, but I had to. And by the way, you doubled my money in craps in like 30 minutes. So thank you, dude. Appreciate you. What was that little technique you taught me? Put your money behind the line.
Let's save it for the end because I know some people are opposed to gambling. So, but we'll get to that.
Was that a joke?
Right?
No, what are you talking about now? I don't want to hijack the episode.
No. So yeah, we'll talk about it. So
sorry.
So yeah, it's important to have your finger on the pulse. Like I've come to crypto to make money. And the neat thing about right now is like I can listen to everybody else outside of what's going on, but I have like 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 opportunities to get in on day one right now on projects. And if my goal is to make money, like I want to make money in this ecosystem because we have the community to back it up. And I'm sure you feel the same way. And I got no need really to look at other things right now because everything's just about to pop off where we're at. That's what I love about it. But yeah, you always just kind of always take information from people that spend more time doing what they're doing than you, and then you can make your own opinions from that. It's kind of leveraging and outsourcing that information pipeline.
Yeah, I'm pretty confident and comfortable with my position just from the research I've done. So like I understand some people who like if they haven't done the research, then they feel uncomfortable during a situation like this where you're like, oh, Pulsechain, there was like all this FUD, like is Pulsechain ever gonna launch? It's like if you do the research, you look at the history, it's like Richard would never do that. Never not release it. Like that guy cares too much about actually making a difference in this world. It's just not possible for that guy. So like that's just crazy, and there's fudsters for every reason. So once you do the research and you realize you found gold in crypto, there's really not too much reason to go looking elsewhere unless you just like for many years are just getting wrecked or something. Then maybe you should change up your strategy. So that's the thing. That's what a lot of people from like 2017 are doing. They're like, guess holding these coins wasn't the play. I better start looking around. But then some people just never stop. They just keep looking every day. They never stick with something and they end up trading. That's what that's called. So I don't really recommend, like as soon as you find the good guys in crypto, just stick with that. That's my plan. Seems pretty good.
We've got some celebrities on the panel. Obviously, we got some celebrities in chat. We got a Wild SJ who does the reading sci-fi and has some great stuff. It's great to meet her in Vegas. We got Bristology, and we've got Be Mindful of Death. That's the first time I've seen them in the chat, and they are only here for David Feeder.
That's a Bree. Hi, Bree.
He's
Damn.
They're ignoring everyone else but David Feeder right now. And I think I saw Bristology earlier. It's a party in here, so that's great. Now it's because this is called Tech Talk. I think we should probably talk a little bit about tech. What do you guys think? Let's go on with all the crazy stuff that's gone down in Testnet this week. I've seen a lot of people. K4K's put out some awesome tutorials. David's put out some awesome tutorials. Crypto Coffee. Rags has just been inciting riots. He hasn't helped us at all when it comes to cryptocurrency.
Dude, there's so much to do on Testnet. Like, I had to make videos back to back to back because there was so much to make videos on. And I tried to make them as easy and as fast as K4K can do them because, you know, my videos, they go way too long sometimes. I tried to keep them under 20-ish if possible. So, but there's just so much good information that I think people would benefit from learning before mainnet happens. So I was like, let's get our community up to speed on using dexes and stuff like that, bridging. It's very important to learn that stuff whenever it's free and you have the time, because it's not mainnet and it's not real money yet. You know, it's opportunity cost once there's opportunity, right? So if you have to choose between learning how to do it while there's opportunity out there, you're missing out. There's nothing you're missing out on now. So it's like very good to go and learn now. So that's what my videos are about.
The APY right now that I'm seeing people show on the testnet is insane. It's in the hundreds of %, you know? Yeah. And so obviously, like you said, this is testnet. It's not real money yet. But what are you guys thinking about? Like, because a lot of people are playing around trying to figure out, am I going to get more money by staking to validators? Am I going to get more money with the liquidity providing, or with staking the LP token, right? Because there's several options there for people to do. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I mean, I know what the least profitable is, and that is delegating to a validator. So I'll just say that first and foremost. As a validator myself, that is the least profitable. But it's also has no risk, right? Like you're not going to ever lose. Your pulse just sits there in your wallet anyway. So it's like, it's just that that's like that joke interest you get in your savings account, right?
Oh man!
So it's kind of like that. Strangely, not strangely, but what's great, what I've noticed is on PulseX, that single-sided staking, where you can stake your PulseX and then you get that party coin. Man, those party coins right now, they sell for a lot of Pulse and a lot of PulseX. So even doing, because what's the max? 10 million coins? And then you get like 300 party a day, I'm seeing on the testnet, and you sell that for like
much so far?
Almost 1 million Pulse. Like, yeah, it's very nice.
I put in like 1,000, or is it $1,000? It was $10,000 worth of PulseX I staked in there. I don't know what day it was, but the price has changed since then of PulseX. But I earned like 30% in like a day or two or something in value from just the party token. And so it was like, oh, a plus 30%. And then I looked at my PulseX value, and that was up to $13,000. So I actually gained another 30%, which is basically how, I mean, I'm not saying you're going to get those percentages come mainnet, but that is the mechanics of it, that the thing you're staking can also acquire value. So you're like, oh, this is gaining in value. And then it's earning me things that can also go up in value. What is that? Dude, it doesn't get better than that.
Yeah, it's real good.
And the yield you're getting is in a coin that isn't itself. So when you sell it, you don't push the price down against yourself of the thing that you're holding that's earning you more stuff.
Yeah. Yep.
Good luck beating that. Good luck.
I feel like new people into this entire ecosphere, even new people to crypto, it's like, this is like modern day self-sustainable banking, like for yourself. And a lot of people just miss that idea behind DeFi and crypto, because on the centralized exchanges, they give you a couple options, right? Gamble your life away in margin trading, or stake but rely on the counterparty and earn interest. And most people just don't get it. They just think, just put my money here and I get paid X, and X is a fixed number, and that's it, and I'm good, right? It's like, I had an ex-girlfriend, her dad was like, I'm just staking my stable coins and earning my 8%. I don't need to be involved in Hex. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. But you can, like, there's still the price appreciation factor, right, et cetera. And
he's losing to inflation. Lol.
Yeah.
That's the worst play. And his counterparty risk still. It's like, what have you done? You like trick yourself into thinking you're doing well?
He's all like a retired CPA, and I'm going, dude, you're the galaxy brain. You should be able to understand this more than me, even though I have a math major, whatever. Like, that's old, but
we all have math majors.
Yeah, it's but no, I guess what I'm really trying to say is, like, this whole the Pulse, Hex, everything all combined. Like, if you miss this now, because we're still in the macro, or when you zoom out on this, it's the wild, wild west of crypto altogether. We're still so early. And I don't like saying that, because some people feel like, oh, you're saying that because we're on a dip and you want me to hold longer. I'm like, well, that's part of it. But if you just look at the technology, how long has crypto been around? What, 10, 11, 12, 13 years, whatever. Okay. But this stuff, what we're dealing with right now, it's like the emerging property that Richard talks about. And I almost feel like there needs to be like a university online on really learning how to operate yourself within this once you get in. You know, you buy Pulse, then what? You buy PulseX, then what? Because there's that herd of people, they're gonna have to go way back in time to see these videos. You know what I'm saying? Even with 6 months in crypto, they're gonna have all the other scammers or whoever kind of getting in the way between the meat, which is the content you guys are putting out. I don't put out videos like you guys. You guys are like way beyond me. But I try to look at things in a macro perspective. So anyway.
What do you think about this comment right here? Like, people are barely getting to wrap their head around crypto. They still don't even understand the idea of private keys and admin keys so far. So like all these people staking the stable coins, those are just, you're getting an IOU on an IOU, right?
It's terrible.
Yeah.
It's terrible from a security perspective. Like, I know a guy who got into the internet space in the early 90s. He hacked into Bank of America. He literally had Secret Service show up at his door and say, tell us how you did it, and we're going to let you go. You'll never survive in prison. You're like 4'8", and you'll get killed. And so I thought he had a lot more money from his online business. He was one of the first online optometry businesses that was global. I thought he had like tons of cash. So I come to find out that he's taking out like a $1.5 million equity line on his house to then take all that money and put it into Midas to make, I don't know, like 8 or 10%. And I'm going, dude, what if they rug? Like, what if they're bank rugs? You're done. That's the end of it. Try to explain Hex to him. He's just like, I don't get it. And then he sends me the link to XRP is going to be the next gold, or, you know, like that conspiracy theory about how the Rothschilds are buying XRP and all that. Anyway,
They're not.
They're not. They're not.
Spoiler alert.
No, but it just amazed me how people like that who are that smart still can't understand this. Like I told him about Pulsechain during the sacrifice. I don't get it. What do you not get? It's an indirect ICO without an ICO labeled on it. That's what you're doing. You're sending your money an address. You're risking it. But guess what? Like, I minted out of the AA for a whole year. I got my money. Okay. We got price appreciation. Like, I don't know how much more proof people need to have legitimacy across this part. I know there's a lot of scams in DeFi, but I wish I had an easier way to not look. I'm not telling anybody to go all in. I'm not telling them to put the $1.5 million into Hex. I told him about Hex when it was .0. It was 3 zeros and a 2, I think, or 2 zeros and the COVID dip. That's why I told him. His response to me, buy Link, bro. All right. Well, how did your 5X go, man?
Link did all right. I mean, it didn't do what Hex did.
Yeah, it did. In past tense, it did. It went to $50. It was $2 when he told me, okay, you got a 25X.
Yeah.
Like,
that's not near as what Hex did.
Or many other tokens did. You could have grabbed ADA at 6 cents, right?
True.
I mean, it's hindsight's 2020. It's easy for me to say now, but I just don't get how people who are very smart still can't understand this. Like, everybody in this space in our little cube here, I think everybody here probably has a pretty high IQ, but there's some people where I think it's the cognitive dissonance. That's like my narrative in my offense to the crypto space. It's, I don't understand how you don't get this, how you don't see this, how you don't see the magic.
Is that what you tell him when you're talking to him? You're like, how do you not get it? Or are you
I
posted
on Twitter, and this is not a macro view. I posted like the chart of like, it looked like a couple bull flags and then profit taking and then cup and handle. And then I put like stopping. It must be cognitive dissonance. I don't know what else people need. Like, that's on the 1 day scale. And these other people, it's on the 1 year scale, the 5 year
if I
scale.
showed my grandma like a chart that said cognitive dissonance, I don't think she'd buy.
Yeah.
Like, everyone's just different, you know? Like, some people care about different things. You got to speak to them what they care about, or they literally the opposite. They don't care. So it doesn't matter what you say if it means so much sense to you. Like, they're just not going to buy in.
Yeah.
And the mentality that I keep running into is you missed the Hex Run. The Hex Run, like there's one Hex Run and you missed it, so you need to catch the next run. It all has to do with a 1 month to a 6 month kind of mentality, like you're saying. So once you get them to wrap their heads around how this works, then you got to get them to wrap their heads around delayed gratification, which is not normal for most people, right? I mean, how long do you wait between clicking on something on social media till the second that the dopamine hits your brain? A fraction of a second, right? Like we're trained and conditioned for immediate gratification
Dopamine.
and consumerism, right? So we're fighting an uphill battle with most people.
Well, the uphill battle also reflecting in the market that like stocks, for instance, right? If you buy a stock and it drops a lot, what tends to happen in those markets is you have so much activity in the market battling that price up and down. You meet so much more resistance because all these technical traders are coming in shorting. You got options expiring and people playing all these games. And there's definitely games going on in crypto, but we don't like, especially because you can't short Hex or any of that stuff right now. I don't feel like we're going to face too much like technical resistance. And hey, I know there's technical traders who are way beyond me at this, so kudos to you guys. But I don't think that there's going to, when I see them talking about resistance lines and all that, I just go, I don't see it as people are just trying to exit at, oh, I bought it 20 cents. I want to get out even now. Like, no, those people may have staked. There's other things that take away from that resistance in when Hex runs again. That I miss the run mentality. If you look at the charts of like Tron, XRP, and those other tokens, I'm not saying they won't run again. What was that?
EOS.
Yeah, all of those coins that did like the crazy hockey stick in 2017 and just dumped, like I think there's a lot of people that did buy at those higher levels that are just desperate to get out, because those are the people during the mania that took out mortgages on their houses to get these loans. And they're just like, just get me out even, like, and I'll be fine. I know people with that mentality, but I don't think that that's going to be Hex going back up through 50 cents again. And we're all going to laugh when they get left behind again. If they don't, if they sell, if they sell a loss.
I'll add something to that.
Please.
The only time I've ever been comfortable about onboarding somebody into Hex, I mean, obviously through the AA, I felt pretty good about onboarding people. But after it started moonshotting, doing 30, 100, 150x without ever pulling back, the only two times I've ever felt really good about onboarding people was after the big payday dump, where we went down like 85% and just kind of sat stagnant there for a few months. And right now, those are the only two times I've felt really good about onboarding people. So I personally don't think we bottomed yet. We might have, but I was onboarding people at 10 and 13 cents. And I just said, guys, if you're getting into crypto right now, you don't get into crypto without ever suffering a 50% loss at some point. This could be your 50% loss. But the thing you can't live with is if it moonshots without you and you just sat there wishing you got in for 6 months as it goes and makes new all-time highs. So I think now is the perfect time to be onboarding people. And just let them make sure that they understand that there is more potential downside to this bear market, but every time we go down from here is a good thing. I mean, I have a lot of money sitting in Hex, and I actually, this is going to be an unfavorable opinion here, but I wouldn't mind if it hit a penny, because I would put all of my money in at that point. I'm not going to put all my money in right here, but I would put it all in at a penny. I would love to see lower numbers, and I just wish that people, that's what I wanted to see, have new people understand, was like, hey, every time this thing goes down, yeah, we know you bought it 40 cents. We know you bought it 30 cents, but you got to understand what kind of opportunity there is here, because like some coins don't get back up. Just like you're saying, Tron, EOS, Ripple, they just don't get back up. But
they can, right? Like I felt like Ripple
a lot of coins do, but like, to think Hex is not going to, I think there's a very, very, very small chance Hex does not ever get back from a dump again.
Yeah. And the other thing is like when big payday happened and everyone anticipated the price going up and down. Like I remember it was like around October, I'd say. I was at a beach somewhere. I was looking at my phone and it eclipsed a penny. And I was like, wow, how? I didn't really understand how the Uniswap or like the markets like ultimately calculated the price based on the money coming in. I didn't really gauge that. Richard kind of enlightened me to that. Thank you, Richard. But on big payday, when the crash happened, what I didn't like, or what got me, wasn't the price. It was that I didn't get as much bonus because we all got kind of diluted because the OA had staked. And it's a mentality, right? My mentality was I thought I was going to have more coins. Price is irrelevant to me because my time frames are going out till I'm 55 years old. And anybody else just getting in that are new to crypto, especially, all they see is just the shiny objects, the Lambo, the hot girls, and nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with being ambitious. But if you have the right time frame, price doesn't matter. You're just accumulating. And I tell people, look, they say, hey, how do I get this? I say, how much money do you have? Oh, I got $5,000. I say, okay, only look to maybe spend 500 right now. And if it goes down, don't freak out. 500 more. You're going to have to average in. And once you're in, you did the best you could. But most people have binary thinking. I have X amount of dollars. I'm going to buy at Y price, and I'm going to have Z emotions.
People yell at certain price points.
And then I'm going to take it all out on you when the price is down, and I'm going to sell when it's down, and it's all your fault. And I'm going to show
You
up.
did say you were going to YOLO 1 cent.
I will YOLO 1 cent, man. If I
People don't.
I mean, I think that'd be a great opportunity to buy at 1 cent. And people hate the idea of even going down there, but like, I don't think we're going to see 1 cent. But
crypto's more valuable to you the lower the price is.
Right.
It's like a weird concept. People don't seem to. It's not intuitive at first, but what is crypto good for? It's for appreciating. Okay, is it more likely to appreciate from a higher price or a lower price? So what you really want is to get crypto at a lower price, which obviously buy low, sell high is like the most obvious idea in the world. But people hate seeing low prices because I guess people go all in or something, and then they're just like, I'm sad now because I can't get more, and then they just complain, I guess, instead of
that's that binary mentality.
Or instead of like creating value and then buying more with what you earn or something, you could just do that. But instead they go on Twitter and troll. I don't know. Maybe they're just the loud minority, and we're like talking about like 10 people who are on multiple Twitter accounts.
when I got
it could be that, and everyone else is like chilling, but we're talking about these 10 guys. Like maybe that's not what we should be talking about either.
When I got into crypto, like all I could think about was making USD and then cashing it out one day. But like the longer you sit in crypto, the more you think about you want to collect coins. The more years you sit in crypto, you want coins. You don't want dollar at the end of the day.
Yeah, dollar. We know where that's going. Oof.
Like all of, strangely, like Richard, all this is advanced technology from a general perspective, just globally or universally. And Richard has created opportunities for people. He's created wealthy people. And in the irony is that I think for all of us, he's created a lot of problems, but they're good problems, right? And my problem is like my family or who I am, leaving this stuff, in a, I call it the trustless trust. I'm not going to let anybody take that from me, by the way. How do I get?
I'm going to make an NFT of it. It's mine.
Well, how do I get these people to ultimately understand this stuff, how to unwind it, and how do I illustrate the terms of unwinding that if I die? And that's a concern of mine because I don't want my family to be paper hands. Oh, Goldman's dead. Like Goldman's dead. Let's liquidate all this stuff that he has. And then it's like how, but no, like what I want in the trustless trust is, and I don't know if I can ultimately do this, but you're not allowed to liquidate this stuff either until a certain point in time or a certain price point, whichever one comes first, because I know what the power of these things are. I don't want them to liquidate for $5 million. I want them to liquidate for $1 billion.
Yeah,
that's a problem I have.
It is interesting because, like, at least in my experience, from like after someone passes away, and then like say they left some money in either stocks or something that the people who get it, they have no idea why the person chose those stocks, or they don't know anything about stocks themselves. So what do they end up doing? They usually do end up liquidating it and splitting it amongst everybody anyway. So it's like this, it's the same problem outside of crypto with leaving inheritance. So would educating your people about stocks stop them from selling it? I don't know, maybe.
Yeah.
So it's they're gonna end up doing what's best for them after you're gone regardless. It's probably still good to, I think it is important to teach everyone about crypto, So that's a bit different than like stocks, because I think crypto just like poo-poos on stocks. Like, why would you teach somebody about stocks when you can get them into crypto? It's just like, oh, you just make 100x more in your life.
Yeah.
So
I got a question for you guys. If we're still on the LP category, I know we got a little bit off topic here.
oh, we never do that.
But what would your guys' advice be to like somebody with a large bag as opposed to somebody with a small bag when it comes to being an LP? From my understanding and just from stuff I've played around with back in the day, but this is when ETH fees were $200 to move all your rewards and stuff and sell them for your whatever it is. Anyways, it just seems to me like being a smaller LP, there's just a lot of risk to it when it's like you almost have to actively manage it from what I see. And it just seems like it's not the best thing for a small person. What do you guys have to say?
I think in a V2 situation, like not V3, you can be like a small person in the liquidity pool type farm thing, because everyone's like, it's not very complicated in a way. You can make it somewhat complicated if you want, but like you don't have to choose an exact range or anything. It's just you're spread out across like infinity, both directions. So you can do it with a little bit and earn the token, and you can just join ones that you like both tokens. You don't have to go in with your whole bag at one price point. That's not really what normal liquidity providing would be.
They don't put their whole bag in.
You should
not even a small portion of it, but
a small part, not a bad idea.
So what I was wondering was like, if it's a small person, they got $5,000 or $10,000, they put 1,000 of Hex in a pool and 1,000 of USDC in a pool, and Hex just keeps going up forever. They essentially lose their Hex, right? And their chance at being,
right.
They miss their 10,000x at the expense of getting a couple percent of rewards. You know,
that's right.
That's what.
That's right.
It scares the
That's
hell
why you don't
out
put
of
your
me.
whole bag in there.
Right.
You only like almost, since crypto is almost always either going way down or way up, then it's really bad to be in like a liquidity pool for a long time. Like if you want to, it's a managed position. It's like, oh, I'm going to remove it after it played this range for a week, and then I'll put it back in because I think it's going to go to this price range and stay here for a while. Then you provide it again. That's if you want to play it like I'm a liquidity manager.
You're
like,
getting in and out all the time. You don't just sit it there like a trust fund.
No, you don't. Like that's super silly.
Yep.
Because you'll just get impermanent loss like you just described in that Hex scenario.
Mm-hmm.
Can I ask a question? One of you guys maybe you guys know the answer. I don't know. This might sound very like rookie or galaxy brain. I'm not sure.
Rookie or galaxy brain. Okay. What a spectrum.
Well, like in trading, you got trailing stops, you got stop losses, you got trailing sell limit, et cetera, et cetera. Do you guys all kind of know what that is?
Yep.
Okay. Well, I've never done liquidity providing. I just don't want to do it. I'm just more of like make as much yield as I can from staking.
Just do PulseX staking. It's better anyway.
Yeah.
Crashes
well, yeah, and it's just because I've heard of all the rug pulls and all that stuff and yield farming. I just go, you know what?
Well,
if it ain't broke, don't try to fix it.
This is a bit different, but go ahead.
No, I know that in the PulseX, it's definitely different. But what I'm wondering is, so if you're on V2 and you're just providing, equal amounts on bid side, ask side, and let's say, obviously you don't want the market to run away from you in permanent loss, right? Well, are you able to set in there like stop me out, get me out before the market does that? Like if there's market conditions that happen where just you can have it automatically like, oh, get me out during the bad time and then set up your own good time.
You'd have to set up your own third-party software to do it for you at something that it's checking the prices, and you give it permission to use your wallet like that. You're not going to do that. So that's it's basically the answer is no, but it's like possible, but no.
Like what about creating some vaporware on that?
I mean, that's what Uniswap V3 basically allows you to do. It's like, oh, if it goes out of this range, then that's fine because I won't be providing liquidity there anymore. So it's like that's what kind of V3 Uniswap is. They kind of added that somewhat functionality. It's not.
Well, the other thing I thought about this was if they did have something like that, and then everybody used it, then essentially if there was a moon in price or drop in price, just
you'd have like no liquidity and it zooms up or something at a certain point because it that. The thing is,
price
like
went to the moon and the project gets rugged at the same time.
What I've seen is like in V3, there's these. It kind of eats away at some of the V2. What do you call it? Dominance, because they can be so efficient with their liquidity. They can literally, like, if they see your order coming in the block, they will zoom in, putting liquidity at the exact range and the slippage level you would have had, and they take all of the fees. Everyone else gets nothing. And so they can like flash in their liquidity, flash it away. So it's like liquidity on demand instantly if someone has it set up they want to do that. And then they're getting all the fees. Everybody else gets jack. So that's like kind of one thing I don't like about V3 encroachment, is it kind of is just more efficient. And so eventually all this opportunity is going to dwindle away in a way.
In terms
for
of,
V2
you mean like
type stuff.
arbitrage opportunities, you mean?
Hmm,
Like it doesn't
more
V3
like
go
people providing
look at all
liquidity
the-
in V2 is like going to become obsolete, I think, eventually. Because
Okay, I think
V3
I'm
is
mixing it up
better.
with like, because Richard said something about like how like V3 is going out and looking at like all order books and trying to like balance things out perfectly. I mean, is that essentially what it's doing?
That's like, I think you might be thinking of like the aggregators, like the 1inch or Matcha. They check all liquidity pools
Yeah,
that
you're right.
are en route, because then you just get a better deal. But yeah, it's
You're
still
right,
routes
yeah,
through
that's what
V2
it
because
is.
people provide
Okay.
liquidity there. It's simpler. So, but I think over time, V3 and even more developments are going to make it just so much more efficient that once high level people with just like billions of dollars who want to just be like, yo, let's just snipe all of the trading activity and provide liquidity at exact locations, you're going to be like, huh, I guess I'm not making any fees in V2, am I? But you could still be getting, well, yeah, because then it would probably dry out people wanting to give incentive tokens to pools in V2, because if you're not actually, if your liquidity never gets hit, why are they giving you anything? You're not actually providing anything. But so,
You're
but
deploying
that's
capital.
that's
That's
not going to
doing
happen
nothing
in
for you.
like, it's not going to happen in 6 months. It's going to be like 2 years or something. So I'm not worried about that for now, and we can still benefit nowadays from doing liquidity things.
Let's switch gears real quick here and start back with the testnet. We've been able to play around with a lot of stuff, and they've updated a couple of the UIs for staking and validating. What are the next things that they need to add to testnet to try out next, guys?
Ooh, Brandon, have you tried it out?
Yes, I've tried it out, but I'm definitely going to defer this to K4K for some reason.
What?
I don't know why I would do
some
that.
reason. You're not talking this whole time, and you're like, I'm going to defer. Come on.
I have a small child that's about to rug our stream here in the back, so that's why I'm being very careful with my microphone off.
Rags is sleeping.
I'll give you a pass.
He's sleeping with his glasses
right
on. He doesn't sleep. He stays up all night waiting for Crypto Heartbeat to ring the bat phone. So he's actually sitting there asleep with his sunglasses on, waiting for. Oh no! Someone called child services. That's not fair to that poor kid.
Did you just throw your child?
Yeah, he threw him. Yeah, he gets.
I just saw you throw him off camera.
He gets 1 hour of recreation time in every 24 hours. So that's what's happening right now.
23 and 1.
Recreation time do you get?
Lockdown, baby.
Lockdown.
Okay, so what's can we,
Lockdown's never stopped in that house.
So it's Rugrats to riches.
Oh, got you.
Dude, that's awesome.
Got him.
Absolutely.
Rugrats
That's
to
awesome.
riches.
X-Ray had to leave after that one, apparently.
You're not
One of
muted,
the
bro. We can
complaints-
still hear you laughing.
My camera keeps overheating. I've got a fan on it, but it doesn't always work. So anyway, so what are the next things that we want to play around on that we're waiting for to hit testnet, guys?
We're waiting for the DAO. Richard's stream, he didn't mention it today, but we still have to do the DAO because he's like, what is there left to do? Maybe he just knows the DAO's done, so he's like, he doesn't really care. He doesn't consider it. That'd be sweet. But sometimes he just forgets to say stuff, so that's fine. But the DAO, which is what decides which pairs get incentivized with incentive token and with how much incentive token, that's where PulseX holders get to vote on that stuff. And also they vote on what third-party coins are going to be allowed to be added to the pools tab, where you can stake your PulseX and choose, I want to get this third-party token or this one. So they're kind of getting pre-vetted by the voters. and stuff. And I'm hoping we have some smarty pants developer people who will point out super scam coins that try to get voted in, and we're like, this code doesn't look good, don't vote for this, and then nobody votes for it, doesn't get in. So it's pretty much only good stuff should be available, I would think. And same with the incentivized pools. Like, I don't think we're going to vote to incentivize a pool where one coin is super scam. So yeah, the way people got scammed in the past for liquidity farming was you can take your LP tokens you get for providing liquidity. You know, say you go to PulseX right now on the testnet, you provide liquidity into PulseX Pulse Pair. You get LP tokens in return. You don't have to use them on the site's farm tab. Someone else, I can make a site, Brandon can make a site, and it just has a list of these places you can stake your LP tokens on their website, and they could say they're going to give you some return. And sometimes they did legitimately, but sometimes they were just like, and we're keeping them, or and rug pull. So like, that's the riskier stuff. If it's inside the exchange itself, I don't think you're going to get rugged. So that's why it's like much safer when it's inside the exchange versus outside, is how I see it. So the only risk you really have is like impermanent loss and maybe contract risk in general, but that's what everything has. So, and then what was the other part? What else are we missing? Oh yeah, the balances. We just need the full balances. Like I was all excited for testnet. I was telling people, I was like, oh, I'm not going to guess the total amounts of Pulse and PulseX we're going to have, because we're going to have the legit numbers as soon as testnet 2.5 comes out. I go to the PulseX contract address and I'm like, let me look at the total supply. Oh, they didn't even include the OA coins. So we don't have the real total yet. And also people were trying to fix balances. So I guess Uniswap V3 will have the real total final balances, and we may update the AMM bot again to do V3 liquidity. So like those are the last things to do. Those three things, I think.
Awesome. Is there an address that we can ship Mountain Dew to and care packages to keep these devs working 24/7?
I mean, didn't Richard just say like last week? He's like, "Oh yeah, the main dev's off vacation now." I'm like, "What? What are you talking about?" I'm like, "Okay, he can live his life. You know, it's not all about Pulsechain or my bag." But
He always sneaks everything in there, like at the very end, like, "Oh yeah, Pulsechain's like almost done." Like, "Oh, really? Thanks."
yeah, he just throws it out. He's like, "Yeah, we're basically done. We could launch." What?
Yeah. What do you
Everyone's
guys
been
think
waiting for
about
that.
like a floor at a certain price? What? that was long ago, right, Hexray?
Yeah, that was a while ago.
He did say that we were going to beat ETH 2.0, which was encouraging.
He also said that he expects them to delay. So,
Correct.
so he's like,
Wait.
"Oh, if I expect them to delay, I can say that we'll launch before them if they delay."
And then
That's
he was
like
like,
before-
even if we don't beat them. I'm like, no, don't say even if we don't beat them to market.
I didn't realize that was Dixon down there. I thought a brand new person came on.
Nope, that's me.
You have such a good camera.
I had a
You
piece
have
of
such a
duct
good
tape.
camera, bro.
It's an iMac Pro. I mean, it's the webcam on it. I had a piece of duct tape over it, and I had to sit there and clean it off with Windex and shit because I've never used it. So at first I was like, screw it, I'm not going to put it on. And then I
It
said,
looks really
I
good.
will.
Nice.
So
thanks.
So what are the clues and the Easter eggs we can look for when we actually get close to launch and to the fork?
Well,
We got to see the DAO, V3, and all the balance numbers. That's
Yeah.
pretty much it.
I have a little trick just on one of my home pages when I first open my web browser. Is it goes right to gitlab.com/pulsechaincom/releases. You can see the patches that the devs do on the GitLab. So I look at that first and foremost every day.
Hacker pro tips, dude. You're gonna be the first guy on that AMM, aren't you? He's like, I will provide the liquidity.
Well, I'm going to be looking for PRC20 pairs that maybe didn't get AMM'd correctly. So that'll be nice.
I have thought about like, why am I not just looking into if we end up not getting the V3 liquidity with the bot, that is my money. Like you just go in and get those crazy amount of liquidity for like 1,000 pulse. You buy out 90% of the of the pool. What the heck? So I'm thinking we're gonna figure out some way to get that liquidity because that's gonna be a decent amount.
I think he might leave it. I think to save on time, they may skip that one, to be honest. V3.
Yeah, that's why I'm thinking about looking into it.
I have
That'd be
a question
crazy.
about the
Go ahead.
liquidity providing like on certain pairs. So, and I'm trying to wrap my head around. And this is a lot to think about, as we all know. So let's say major exchange does list Pulsechain, right? And they go, all right, well, we got like 18 other 1,000 pairs on, Ethereum's Ponzi roulette wheel of coins that we can theoretically list. Well, let's say I don't hold any Chainlink at all, but let's just use this as an example. And although the founders of Chainlink, choose to more or less sell their coins rather than invest or buy their own bags, but let's just pretend they did. And they go, oh, well, Chainlink, we have a pair on Pulsechain, but over on the actual Pulsechain, there isn't really a lot of liquidity to that pair, but we want to get that pair listed on all the other centralized exchanges that are now beginning to list just Pulse as its own token. Do you understand what I'm saying? So do you think that they would then take money?
You think they're going to try and pay exchanges for their own Pulse version to get listed? So
not just the listing, but that they will put up the liquidity on that pair in order to get it listed.
I mean, do they provide liquidity currently for like ETH? If they do
I
it
have
there,
no idea.
maybe it's more likely.
I mean, I think they would.
They weren't doing it before. They won't do it now, I don't think. But if they were before, then maybe.
I mean, is this a stupid question? You guys can tell me if it is. Like,
no, we brought that up last week. I thought the same thing. Why would they not do it? It's an opportunity for them to make a lot of money, and all the legwork's being done for them already.
What's the money making part?
What, for an exchange?
No, for he was talking about the founders who are getting the airdrop, right?
Yeah, to a
How
degree.
Are they making money by getting it listed on an exchange? And then
what I'm saying is will they almost try to kind of create their own parity across their Ethereum version and their Pulse version of, call it Chainlink, call it Dumblink, call it whatever you want, any ERC, top 20 Coinbase, pick your flavor coin. I'm trying to figure out if Pulse becomes popular, but you look over on the actual Pulse chain and we have a bunch of dead pairs, and the only things that are really running are, let's just say Hex, PulseX, and Pulse itself. Like, don't they want to see their crops grow and come alive on another chain and give people that option, knowing, hey, it seems like our price is dropping because the Ethereum fees are killing off everybody. Hey, we have an option for you. Pulse chain solves it? Or do you think they're going to look at that like, no, don't pump Richard's bags? Like, I'm trying to really...
They'll probably, I mean, I would guess they would wait
this.
for it to look more successful before they adopt it. Like, they're not going to, right at the start, be the first person to,
No one wants to have first mover advantage in this market.
They don't want to put their neck out right away.
Right.
Like,
they want to sit here for a year and see other people do it before they jump in.
Ooh, it looks good over there. Now we'll adopt it and act like we were along with it the whole time because now it's a great thing. So
I think 95% of projects and dudes like that and those founder stuff, they're just too stupid to even realize. They just don't have a clue what's happening.
They're not going to. They're stuck in their own world. They're doing their own coin stuff. They're not doing every other protocol out there.
They have no idea. It's just right over their heads.
And I kind of, I don't have many episodes, but in one of my episodes, I kind of mentioned how these founders have become just complacent because they've gotten rich, they've gotten fat, right? You get to a certain point, like Richard says, you're eating at all the same restaurants. I noticed that with myself. I'm not eating worse as I have more money. Don't know why. But with that said, I'm looking at it like going, well, when Pulsechain launches and everybody's trying to arbitrage PulseX for Pulse and this and that, I'm going, can I sneak over into Chainlink or one of these and buy up a bazillion tokens for next to nothing and just bag hold it until I get my glory? Just throw $1,000.
You can, it might not even cost you much to get a decent stack of these PRC20s, and you get to become a mini whale in some of these projects early.
Yeah, and I don't need full parity for that play to really be very profitable. I'm thinking damn, I mean, we're reinventing a wheel, so I
probably smart to look into that. I mean, you're just kind of playing that's side better games. I just really like PulseX because if you like anything over on the Pulse chain, you're buying PulseX for me, not yourself. If you buy other stuff.
I mean, it's a very high risk play I'm thinking about, but as some of my fellow dice rollers know, no risk, no reward. But it's I just think there has to be the day that comes where there's going to be, all of a sudden, like there's not partial parity is not really such thing, but like call it 20%. Let's say Chainlink is trading at $15 on Ethereum.
Yep.
And then I can go and grab a bazillion Chainlinks. And even if it goes to $1 on the Pulse side, I feel like it works out. I only got to throw like $1,000 at one of these plays.
It's probably that's probably worthwhile. Like if you're just like, you know what, I'm gonna spread my risk across these things that one of them might moon rocket if it gets adoption over here, like SHIB or something.
Yeah, I'm thinking
they're gonna dump those airdrops. They're gonna dump their airdrops.
This is what everybody did in 2017.
So like you can do that. Like if you're just gonna iron grip it, like just freaking hold it. Especially if it looks like it's way oversold. You're like, no one else is going to sell this down. It's like not worth selling.
I'm doing the same thing with Hedron. I mean, it's a long play. I've long time horizons. This isn't.
Yeah.
If Hedron 100x's tomorrow, I'm still not selling.
I just wouldn't tell like the average person in our community to go and do that because they'll buy the wrong stuff instead of just holding like stuff we know is probably going to do well, like PulseX, and Hex. So it's like, oh, do I risk money on that or the guaranteed-ish thing? I'd rather do the guaranteed-ish thing for most people, but I don't. It's not like I still think it sounds fun to do, get a possible moon runner like that. But the other stuff's gonna moon run anyway. So
if there's like next to no liquidity though in one of those, and I try to do just like $1,000 market buy, won't I just get destroyed by myself in the slippage with next to no liquidity going in on the buy side?
There's going to be more liquidity than unless you're picking some coin that didn't get used by the AMM bot, because it's going to have all those PRC20s from all of the UV2 liquidity paired with Pulse. So it has like a large amount of Pulse and a large amount of PRC20. If you bridge over, maybe you were referring to like bridging over real USDC because like there's not much USD real over on Pulsechain at the start. If you're like the very first guy, you don't even have a pair yet, so you'd have to make a liquidity pool. So you wouldn't even be, but you're not going to be the first guy. And anyway, I'm wondering who's going to bring over, like someone's going to make these pairs of USDC, like real USDC, and they're probably going to pair it against like Pulse or something like that. And then that's your route. That's your route into the tokens. You'll pay a double fee, but you'll be able to get to those tokens.
I get a lot of ideas, and every time I go, okay, somebody's already thought of this. If it has been thought of and it's not being executed, it's because it's really a bad idea. Like this, there's no perfect storm here for me, hardly ever. Like Hex is probably the first thing that looked like a bad idea that ended up being really good, exception to the rule. But I feel like there's too much that I don't know. I mean, a lot of these concepts have all came at like a time when my brain was not looking to learn much more. I mean, just given my workflow, like I still have a career, I guess you could call it, more like a business, but like yield farming and then liquidity pairs. And then when he talked about PulseX, I'm like, oh my God, dude, like, bro, like here's the money, but like, how much more learning do I have to do to be successful?
You don't have to learn. You just have to hold.
Yeah.
If you've already bought it, you could fall asleep for 3 years and wake up and be done.
Well, and I have people asking me about that. Like, so what do we do when it launches? I go, dollar cost for 120 days. Like,
yeah, dollar costing in if you have missed out on any of these sacrifices is mostly what I tell people in general. Because it's like, oh, which exact day is the bottom K for K? Tell me the bottom day. What? I don't know. It's not even out. We don't know. There's too many variables. So just scale in. You'll be happy. I try to make myself know ahead of time. You eat the bullet. I'm going to be happy knowing I didn't get the worst day and I didn't get the best day. But I'm just happy I didn't get the worst day. So just be happy with that, and you're going to have a bag, and you hold it. That's it.
I had a guy message me on Twitter, and he said, what do you think the best play for Pulsechain is? Do you think I should just have my finger on the button the second it launches so I can buy? It's like, not with everything. Not with everything, man. Like,
no, that's probably not it.
There's people talking about it starting 200x up or 30x up. But like there is a chance, and like people say I'm talking like FUD a lot, but there's a chance it could start at a 50% discount and get bought up really quick. and it could drop 80%. We don't know, but like you have to buy high and you have to
who
buy
is
low.
selling it at 80% off, dude? That means you're locking in an 80% loss. No one is doing that.
Dude,
That's my
it happens.
opinion.
This is
No,
crypto. It happens
people
though.
do it.
There's
No,
so
not
many
in this
people
type
do it.
of release. It's not like it's an airdrop. I mean, it's technically an airdrop, but we all kind of paid for it. It's like the ETH ICO where people paid this like base amount and then it scaled down to a worse amount and then it launched at 10x. And then it dropped 86%, but not below what people paid because who was going to sell their Genesis bags for a loss on the first day? And the whales who got those insane good deals, they're not going to let some other whale come in and buy it cheaper than they did. So you got the whales not allowing it and every guy not wanting to lock in a loss at the earliest part of the project.
How much liquidity do you think we're going to have on day 1 to day 5 after the bridge opens up?
Because you mean like USD liquidity?
Right.
I don't know. But you can guess, you can kind of guess how much of the like pulse versus the other stuff. You can count it in pulse numbers, and then you can kind of equate one pulse to like the 10,000th of a dollar amount, and then you can kind of get a dollar value. So I have done that, and it's like around 100 mil or 150 mil, something like that.
On day 1.
Something like that.
Okay. I try to plan for the worst and everything, and so I left a lot of dry powder on the table, not sacrificing everything for Pulsechain, just in case there was like a 50% discount on day 1. But I just feel like there is a lot of newer people into crypto and like $1,000 to $10,000 bags that just want their money back because they thought they were going to get it in a month. And they got it in a year and a half. And I think we're going to get that's
no,
my
but those
opinion,
type of
that we're gonna get a
people, they didn't
waterfall
have a lot of money to start with. Those
Right.
people who didn't plan very well and they needed the money. I bet the person who needed the money didn't have millions of dollars. They had, I put in 1,000 and now it's only like I've been waiting so long. I need the 1,000 back. Like
Right.
that's not going to hurt the price. That's $1,000.
Well, that's what I was getting at. I had no idea where the liquidity is going to start. If the liquidity only starts at 1 million and there's 100 of them guys, it could rape the price, But I have no idea where it's starting.
I'm assuming the value of like a pulse is what kind of the average sacrificer paid for it, because I doubt they're going to sell for less than they paid for it at like the start. It's possible. It's not like it's never been done that someone has sold at a loss.
Mhm.
Like that does happen in crypto, but usually not like the first day. They're not like, yes, got my allocation, selling for a loss. I'm out, guys. Next project. Like, who does that? That's the absolute worst thing you can do in a project. Oh, I'm in day
It
one.
happens, man.
selling for a loss.
There could be 1,000 guys ready to go into a dog coin tomorrow,
What do you guys think about this?
No,
this,
they're not.
This comment
no
on
one
the
is
bottom of the
waiting
screen.
all this time, and they all dump on the first day. Like, no.
Check out Jawa's comment. I've given up on my
There's
camera,
definitely
so I'm
lots
just going to
more
be a
that wanna
voice
buy.
in the void.
Okay.
I think there's
What did
lots
he
more
say?
that want to buy
Oh,
as
in
well,
blue,
who
the
missed
chain
out on the
server wants with its
sacrifices.
own decks.
What are we seeing?
I was just pointing out Jawa's comment down there, how this is the first time that Chain has launched with its own decks on the same day.
Oh, is that true? What about Solana? Did they wait? I don't remember. I don't know. But yeah, I do remember that for BSC. There was like a few different ones that were like competing, and then Pancake was like, "Oh, all right, we're legitimate." But there's always those scam ones for a few weeks trying to raise the money.
I've literally like,
Go ahead.
sorry, no, I've literally like lost sleep over trying to wrap my head around either like, is there a strategy to have dry powder? Because like I kept dry powder on the side. Initially, my plan was to allocate X into the sacrifice, and I thought, you know what, just for my own due diligence, I want to keep a decent portion of that on the side if there is monkey business going through day one or whatever. Because I started noticing the difference of the social aspect of the crowd in Hex. Okay, like I stepped back from Hex the day I got in. Basically, I want to be very low key about it. Told some friends, but then after we had our run up and I saw the Moon Boys come in, oh, it's going to go to $3.69 by like the end of August or September or whatever. Like, okay, now we're getting into that frothy type place. But then when I see the the mentality of people in Pulse and PulseX and all this. I go, what if a whale tries to just discourage everyone during the first few months to hammer the price down as low as he can, suck out as much liquidity as he can to his profits because he holds so much. He's gonna get everybody out
back cheaper.
He's gonna buy back cheaper, like averaging in, and he's gonna set the floor. And I don't know if the math will make sense because I do agree with what K4K is saying, because that's my counter. That's where I'm losing the sleep. I go, but why would he dump his bag at a potential net loss?
Such a risk, because any other whale would happily buy his bags who didn't get in the sacrifice. So
exactly,
like,
and
to sell
also,
at a loss to push the price down, risky business, bro.
and let's just and then I go, yeah, because there's people out there who, let's just say, are Richard or as rich as Richard, that can basically set the floor and set the price on any of this stuff.
Yeah,
whenever he wants.
Agreed with the comment on the screen.
Chaotic Johnny Chaos says he's more concerned about it being over liquid due to holders providing liquidity and making the price hard to move.
I had the same thought when Richard was talking about one of the biggest exchanges listing it. I think people better temper their expectations on this because, one, I don't see any way it's Binance. I don't see any way it's Coinbase. If it was, that'd be incredible, you know?
True.
But really the only thing Pulsechain needs is a fiat on-ramp. And I don't, if I had to guess, it's going to be some like Chinese exchange that people don't even use, like OKX or something.
That's what I think it is. Yeah.
That's my guess. Something that like we don't use, but I don't know. I'll go on from that. But I don't really care if we get a big exchange listing unless it is like a Coinbase where people can send cash for crypto, because anything else we have other than PulseX is just added liquidity that makes it harder for us to pump. You know, that's my opinion to it. Does anybody have anything to say about that?
That's true.
What do you think about Jawa saying that Pulse has to be worth the validator's time and effort and money? I don't necessarily agree with that one.
No, I can be retarded longer than other people could be solvent. So
Yeah.
I know that's not true. I can run this thing at a loss for years. I don't care. Are you kidding me? I got servers all around me, man. Look at me.
Well, and I know that it's like a launch, right? But I also sometimes wonder if there could be like a manipulated / manufactured by a whale, like buy the rumor, sell the news event on a launch, but to their own benefit to like post-launch average back in, and you know what I'm saying? Like the flip side, what K4K is saying, I'm stuck between this. I'm trying to figure this out because I have dry powder on the side, and I go, do I just stick with the plan and just go DCA 90 days like the Hex move was, or was I a moron for not just like sacking it all and trying to get the bonus?
If you sack it all at first, you're gambling almost to an extent. That's my opinion.
That's how I felt. Yeah.
That's
how I felt. And it's like, hey, like, and I, at this point, I obviously trust Richard, but at the same time, it's like, there's that like very, very, very minute, there's extra risk in a sacrifice altogether. Just period. You know,
we're going to get new people making these sacrifices that have not just a JPEG for a Twitter handle, and people are going to get their money taken from them at some point. Like right now, at least everybody doing the sacrifices are people that have been within the community for the last couple of years. But what I'm afraid is going to happen is like, instead of the ICO bubble of 2017, we're going to get the sacrifice bubble of 2022. And everybody's going to have a JPEG, and people are just going to legally give them their money, and they ain't even going to send you a damn token. You know, that's what I think is going to happen. And
that is going to happen one of these times. Someone's going to have a project, and
it scares the hell out of me, man.
Each iteration has been worse, I feel like, for these.
We're all going to send them Hex so that we have less Hex on them. I'm not going to, but people are going to send them Hex so there's less Hex on the market, but then they're going to sell the Hex price down, and they're not going to send you a token back. That's what I think is going to happen at some point.
Well, and there's the narrative of, so I have a relative who's like hardcore into Bitcoin. Fair enough. He says the reason why they invented Ethereum was to take your Bitcoin. I go,
that's Max Kaiser says that. Yeah, right.
Fine.
Get out of here.
And then you look at the altcoins. Okay, the altcoins were invented to take your Ethereum. And then I'm looking at Hex going, oh, now everyone's looking at Hex and they see a lot of dumb people involved in it. Oh, we're going to create these sacrifices. It's just a reiteration of what Richard's doing. to now take your hex. And I had a very hard time putting money into liquid loans. The only thing that got me to do it, I was late. I didn't even get in on the day one of their sacrifice. Now, I don't think it's going to be a bad project. I hope it's not, but I had a hard time doing it because it wasn't a Richard Hart project. And the only thing it really got me to do is because I had won some money when we were in Vegas. I was like, all right, like
you're like, I'm already gambling. Let's gamble some
It's
more.
house money. It's literally house money.
I did it with Hebron too. Yeah, it was like, I'm like, you know what? I'm probably gonna lose this here. Fuck it, I'll lose it there. Pardon my language. Like that was I don't like that. You know what I'm saying? I created my own pool of people to get into Pulsechain and PulseX. So I go, hey, like you've seen how Hex is done. Like you guys know how that is. You know how that was sold to anybody that you know as well. But it's yeah, I feel like we kind of already had the sacrifice bubble in a sense, but that term is going to be reused.
I don't think it's
now.
even started yet.
No, dude,
I don't think it's even started.
It's only just begun.
This is the question I kept asking OGs in Vegas was we had a spike and a crash during big payday, during both sacrifice phases. Every time there's big news in Hex, we get the front runners trying to spike the price and crash the price, right? And so I kept asking what's different about Pulsechain launch that we wouldn't have a spike when Richard announces the launch and a crash when it launches and all these new coins are dumped into people. And Johnny's got a comment here. Major dips are a result of pre-allocations given to people like the VCs. But in this case, we are, for free. In this case, we do have the pre-allocations, but we did pay for them. But I still haven't seen any evidence that convinces me that we're not going to have the same spike and crash that we've always experienced.
I got
For
something.
the token itself or for Hex?
For Hex and Pulse and for everything. I mean, obviously you can't have a spike for Pulse before it comes out, but you are going to have all these people that
I think it moons
have been waiting for it.
We paid for it. It'll be higher. Is my guess. It's going to be higher, and then the crash. So moon then crash is my guess, but not
just like Ethereum. Yeah, just like Ethereum. Yep.
That's
and
what I
Bizology said it before. It's we're gonna start maybe 10x higher than what we all paid, and then it's gonna dump. Right.
That's
and there's gonna be a 50 to
people who bought the
dump.
10x the price. They're gonna feel that pain on the way down. They're selling. Maybe some people will take profits thinking maybe there's some FUD to come out. You never know when the FUD's coming. So there could be some FUD. I'm getting failed transactions. It's taking too long. Maybe the chain doesn't work. Selling.
I feel like that.
Okay, you're out then.
I feel like that Gemini instant that we had recently was some type of FUD, like because they know Pulse is about to launch. I feel like
the
there's people who
Winkovi are trying to get in cheap.
Yeah, no, they are.
Sit down, dude.
They totally are. It's obvious. It's like you have to there's a reason behind everything, and it's never the face value. All this stuff, like sacrifice, right? Where's the money going? Is it just going into watches? No, it's going to marketing. That's what this is.
Right? We're so
It's
far
funny,
back.
it's funny how little backlash the sacrifice is getting and how much backlash the AA got. Because all I heard about for a year, I had to freaking quit social media because all I could hear was, what is the AA doing? Or where's the ETH go? You know, we don't hear that stuff in the sacrifice.
Hilarious.
You know, it's weird how all you do is change the name of how we all give somebody money. And it's okay. It's okay after that. You send somebody ICO money, it's okay. You give somebody AA money, where's the ETH go? But then sacrifice is okay again. There's no questions about where's the ETH going or where's the, I guess, Hex, because Hex was like the main tool sent to the.
Yeah. Plus another thing for these, like half of the value from each sacrifice roughly was from hexagons, and hexagons know how to hold for 15 years in general. So that's half of your user base. Yay. Like that's the people you're gonna have a launch day with, is the people who go, we're not selling for 15 years.
It helps.
All right, sounds good to me. It's got to be at least marginally better type of demographic, right?
It's better than not having a bunch of hexagons in it. You know? But I would say more than 50% of like the sacrifices probably weren't in Hex. You know, not more than 50%.
But you can look at the numbers. It is around 50.
I mean,
no, Hex dollars, yes, but users. What about users? I don't know. I'm asking you guys.
Oh, like the from different wallets? Oh, okay. So you're saying
How
like
many
there
pe-
could
how many
be
people that didn't hold
70,000
Hex
non-hex
that
skins.
sacrificed?
but
I don't
People
know.
from
on
other
that.
had more
communities
money.
were exposed.
Well, you only it doesn't matter what the users are. It's about their ability to hurt the price.
Mhm.
So you got 1,000 people who have $1, and then there's one guy who has 1,000. He's just as much power to move the price as 1,000 people.
Right.
It
Okay.
doesn't really matter that there's like a lot of them. They have no impact or less.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with that.
With the amount of money that went into the sacrifices, I thought that we would see a Super Bowl ad, but then I thought it wouldn't work because it's not out yet. But I would think that from a marketing perspective, when you have that much money available,
Doesn't seem
I would
worth
think
it.
maybe next year when these things are out, if they're out, like like that's when you start like doing ads like that. I think that that's coming.
Can I get your guys' opinion on the Coinbase ad? What did you guys think of that?
Oh my god.
It was the greatest thing ever, wasn't it?
I thought like it broke or something, and the TV was dead. So I was like, and right as it was about to scan the thing, I was like, I guess I'll scan it, and then the ad ran out. I was like, I guess I missed it. It was
It's funny because I see like polar opposites of what people think about it. And I thought it was the greatest way to ever have a call to action on a commercial before, but then there's people that think it was garbage. So I'm just curious what you guys thought of it.
I thought it was awesome, but I thought it was funny that their website broke and all
Yeah,
those people who tried
100%.
to scan it got screwed.
I think that commercial at the bottom of a bear market changes things, but when we're at the start of a bear market, I think it was more just people are putting their money in and going down.
I actually have a marketing business, and I wasn't a fan of it, but it's because it's my style of marketing. There's many ways to do it, and I have yet to land a crypto client. They're obviously better off than I am. They know something I don't. A lot of the marketing campaigns that I run, a lot of it's just building pain, and then it's problem solution, feature, benefit, value, added layer, something along those lines.
Can
But
you
it's because I'm
simplify
marketing.
that?
Yeah, like if you're a small business, got a leak, I don't mean take a whiz, like it's
ETH fees too high. Hey, we got Pulsechain.
Okay. Yep.
yeah, exactly. It's because of the types of businesses that I do like SEO and marketing for. It's very like they ask for the ads to be very dumbed down. And when I saw the coin, because I was preparing for the crypto ads and not being listed on these major exchanges, automatically I'm biased to centralized exchanges due to that and for many other reasons, because I think that they're just net negative entities in the space. Although they do have the fiat on-ramp, right? They get people in, but then they just drain you over time. But besides my bias, I just felt like the crypto commercials that I saw for Super Bowl, it just wasn't very impressive to me just because they weren't simplified.
I thought the FTX ones were dog shit. They paid they paid tens of millions for that, and they were dog shit.
I might be mistaking it for the FTX, to be honest. My memory is I've had COVID 3 times.
Coinbase spent $2,000, and they had a little banner float around the screen for 2 minutes until people out of boredom clicked on it.
Yeah, I might be thinking of the other one, to be honest, if I'm not.
Where it had like they're paying LeBron James and they're paying popular people. They're paying personalities to be in there, and like they ain't getting nobody to their website with personalities being in there.
That was the FTX one?
Yes.
Which one was the Larry David one?
That's what I'm thinking about then. The Larry David was Coinbase, right?
No, the Coinbase just had the what do you call it? The scan code just floating around the screen.
Okay, so I'm thinking of FTX. I'm sorry.
It must have been FTX.
So you and I are
Larry,
agreeing,
right?
Say that again.
FTX was Larry?
Yeah, I think it was.
FTX.
That was the one where I go, that was a crypto ad?
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, don't be like Larry. That's their thing.
Same thing with like the Matt Damon ad where they're in space and the whole favor or whatever, fortune favors the brave. Like that is a terrible crypto ad because you're not getting people to your website with those kind of ads, and you're paying Matt Damon $10 million to be in this shit.
Matt's like, let's go. Did you see that hilarious video where the girl's like, F you, Matt Damon?
I have a
he marked the top. He called the top.
And she was so upset because I guess she got onboarded after that commercial and then like lost her money or something.
Yeah.
So she blamed it on Matt. I was like, are you kidding me? It must have been a joke or like satire because she was like very visibly upset and yelling his name. with
Rugrats to Riches, are you taking a daddy nap over there?
Dude, I'm learning a lot. I'm
He wears
learning a
glasses
lot.
so he can nap on stream. Genius.
I read a book that said I should keep my mouth shut more and listen more, so that's what I'm doing, and I'm learning a lot right now. There's some really good stuff going on.
Oh yeah, what'd you hear?
And
I forgot.
I'm the biggest ding dong in this match. And I already
let me point out one of the things that Johnny Chaos put earlier. He said the difference between some of the big payday stuff and the sacrifice phases is when everyone gets all their coins, they're gonna have more places to put them to work, right? Because in big payday, the coins that you got were already staked, right? They were already put into a stake. And with a sacrifice phase, we weren't given this big flux of coins to put to work. Where now, when Pulsechain and PulseX launch, we're gonna have all these places to put our coins to work and start making yield. And we've been trained over the last 2 years to delay gratification and put your money to work, right?
Yeah.
So I think that may soak up a lot of the profit taking that's going to take place when this launches.
And
so I did
why would
want
you
to point
sell
that out.
PulseX?
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
If you're earning yield with it, you can just pull it out anytime, put it in different staking yields, and whenever you sell it, you're not selling your PulseX. PulseX not going down. It's crazy. if you're selling anything else on the platform, buying PulseX for the PulseX.
Hey guys, I got a question about it. It goes back to when Goldman was talking about putting like $1,000 into a P issue of another coin on ETH. Are there any ETH dApps that are using the testnet that you guys notice them using that kind of like signals that they're going to move their stuff over here? Or what do you guys see on that?
Specific projects coming over? Go ahead.
Right.
Yeah. The first one that comes to my mind is Hex Run on their website. When you switch in MetaMask between Ethereum mainnet and Pulsechain, right on their website it says Ethereum or Pulsechain in its swaps too. Right.
What about old coins that have hundreds of thousands or millions of views? And I'm just curious, like, have you guys seen any signs that like Chainlink would bring things over to be anything like that? Or
I've
or
heard
what?
stirrings of Polygon.
Okay.
Matic, like talking directly with those folks, but it's just stirrings.
Okay.
And again, I think it all boils down to, from what I've heard, it boils down to, just being the first person on there. They want to see if Richard can pull off this chain,
Right.
Before they get in and invest heavily. So that's what I have heard.
Okay.
How long do you guys think it'll take till we see wrapped Ethereum-based USDC on Pulsechain?
Yeah, that's a great question, Bree.
Like Maker?
Immediately. Now, this is going to be EUSDC. And like as soon as that bridges up, like I personally will be bringing EUSDC.
Oh, I see what you're
with me.
saying. Okay.
Like, yeah, that's going to be huge flows. Maybe here's a speculation. This is totally just my own. What if the Pulsechain and PulseX sacrifice wallets start bridging in hundreds of millions of dollars of EUSDC? I wonder what they're going to back or
wonder where they would put it. Where do you think they would put it?
I wonder.
I mean,
Can you double wrap a token is also being asked.
Maybe they just.
So can you wrap a
with
wrapped
PulseX?
token?
They can set the rate then. Ooh.
I mean, isn't that almost the same as like how Hex is built on Ethereum and Hex is wrapped as Hedron? Is that the same tech to do that, or am I missing something?
This is like if you're going from Matic, if it was like a Matic only asset, and then you went onto Ethereum, and then you went to Pulsechain, theoretically, yeah, it should work, but I can't think of any examples of that. Like
I'm not a
double bridging.
developer. I'm just using like.
Is
If
it just a
quick
random
logic,
question for
quick
double
math.
If it's
bridges?
wrapped and becomes an ERC20, it should be fine because you can move ERC20s over the bridge. It's like it doesn't care that it's from something else because it's compatible on ETH. Should work as long as it's still an ERC20 somehow. I'm not sure if the bridge can handle like all types of stuff. Like, can you bridge over NFTs? Like, can you have like a wrapped NFT over there? I don't know because that's an ERC. What are they? 7? I don't remember the number.
721.
721. There you go. I don't know if you can bring those over the bridge or if it's just ERC20s.
You could bring 721s over the bridge.
Have you done that?
I have not. No, and the bridge doesn't have the interface for it, so I guess no, you can't do it. But it should. It should.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. I don't know why you would. Like, oh, look at my picture. It's on this screen.
Just to
same
sell it on
screen.
OpenSea for less fees.
So,
it would just be
yeah.
cheaper fees, really.
How much
Yeah.
attack vector is there on this bridge?
Attack vectors?
No clue.
If
No
there were
idea.
ones, we probably wouldn't use it, right?
There was a bridge.
What if they were known?
Well, that's what I'm asking. Like, there's a bridge that goes to Polygon that got hacked. What is there any risk to this bridge compared to other bridges that have got hacked?
I've heard that Richard said that this is it's one that hasn't been hacked before. So it's like we're using that technology, one that hasn't been hacked. So, I mean, that's as good as you can get in crypto, right? Everything's not hacked until it is.
Right. I got
be like it will never ever be hacked.
Right.
Sure.
I got
That's
another
called-
question that
It's
kind of
called being
pertains to
reactive,
then.
not proactive.
If you didn't want to use the bridge and sit your asset, like if you had ETH that you wanted to get that value into the Pulsechain ecosystem, you can use the bridge, or another way that I was thinking was you can whatever exchange that Pulsechain does list on, let's just say it's OKX or some not amazing exchange, like I think people are speculating it's Binance or FTX or whatever. Just say it's OKX. You could send your Ethereum to OKX, swap for Pulsechain, and then just send it to your Pulsechain network, right?
Yeah.
What would be better in your guys' opinion, having stuff sit in a bridge forever or going to a centralized exchange for 10 minutes?
I mean, I would take the
Centralized
bridge.
exchange.
Well, you're always like if you ever want a wrapped in ETH asset, you're at risk of those not being redeemable because you're taking that bridge contract risk, aren't you? Because you can't go back across the bridge with that and redeem its value if it ever gets hacked.
Right.
So if you ever buy a bridged in thing, you're at risk of the bridge. It's not, you don't avoid it by buying it with Pulse instead.
What I'm getting at, would it or could it be safer if people say it was me, if I had Ethereum, or people that do have Ethereum, they have 500 Ethereum sitting in a wallet, would it actually be smarter for them if they just want to be in the Pulse ecosystem, if they want to own Pulse, would it be smarter to them to go to the centralized exchange for 10 minutes, swap it for Pulse, and then get it off the exchange?
As opposed of just bridging
sitting
and
in the
then-
bridge forever.
Well, no, because like once you bridge it in, I don't think.
You dump it.
Yeah, you
Okay,
would
yeah.
immediately swap it for Pulse,
Right,
and you're
right.
out of the risk of holding
Okay.
an asset that can't go across the bridge. Somebody else who bought it from you, they have the risk now.
That guy has the risk now. Okay, I
Ever
understand.
holding it has the risk. It's not
If
like
it's-
you own that part of the coins on the bridge.
Okay, yep, I understand now.
If
I
Ethereum
got a
gas-
question about coins with admin keys right now that are floating around on Ethereum. A lot of these people, like USDC or other coins, are like, well, if it gets bridged over, they can just use their admin keys, turn them off, freeze them, whatever, invalidate them. What stops someone, besides maybe a lawsuit in certain countries, from forking all of these ERC20 tokens, removing the admin keys, and having an actual free coin that works on Pulsechain?
Huh? Forking USDC? Is that what they're saying? And removing admin keys? Is that
Yeah,
what the question?
yeah. The question is
The value of it is that you can redeem it on their website for real dollars. You forking it and saying, hey, it's the same code, but we can't turn it off. It's not the same code because you can't redeem it. The centralized party will not redeem it. So that doesn't solve anything. If I understood the question right, I don't.
Well, and USDC was just an example. There are a lot of coins with admin keys that may not be stable coins, right? So those founders or the people running them on Ethereum may not, they may resist them moving over to Pulsechain, right? So my question is, what stops someone from forking that code, removing the admin keys for those people to turn them off, and just having that token live?
I mean,
on
the only
Pulsechain?
thing, it's the same thing that stops anyone from forking anything. It takes time and effort and opportunity cost. And if you don't think it's worth it, it doesn't get done. So that's why. It's the same reason it's like, oh, why didn't we have Pulsechain 2 years ago? Oh, either no one thought of it or no one thought it was worthwhile. And now someone thinks it's worthwhile. They got the team, they put it together. It's actually being built. That's how you get like the progress.
Well, nobody wanted an Ethereum killer until Ethereum started killing itself.
Yeah.
You guys are kind of in the middle of one of my other questions. Was what's the stablecoin situation going to be like in the first couple months, other than like So if I had to guess, people are going to bridge USDC and then have a PUSDC on the Pulsechain side. I'm assuming that's right.
Or EUSDC.
Right. Is there going to be a better alternative to that than taking bridge risk? Is there going to be an algorithmic coin that
USDL,
somebody here makes?
Liquid loans, USDL.
That's what Bristology was just talking about. There was Liquid Loans is trying to create their version of a stable coin for Pulsechain.
Mm-hmm.
And then Jawa joked that Link is practically a stable coin.
But Liquid Loans isn't going to be out for a month or two, I believe, anyway. So I don't know otherwise.
Okay.
I have a question about that. Liquid Loans with the delayed receipt of coins and sacrifice, so you can put the number of months to delay your airdrop from them. Is that from the day you sacrificed or the day they launch?
I don't know. I can ask.
That's a good question.
I'll wake up in 3 years. It's either worth something or not.
Stephen Edwards is asking any thoughts of the likelihood of Pulse and PulseX doing their 10,000x similar in the amount of time as Hex. And I think I've heard from most people here, they're expecting it to do it faster than Hex.
I think a couple or several hundred X in 2 years. I don't think 10,000x.
I think slower. I think the liquidity is going to be higher.
PulseX, yeah. I would say that for Pulse and PulseX, probably a couple hundred X in 2 years.
I was pretty surprised though with all of these dexes that came out, how hard and how fast those things pumped. Now, granted, it was when Bitcoin was running hard and the market was on fire, but I think we have a better product. I think it could go pretty fast, pretty hard if we catch it at the right time.
What did Uniswap get to? What was its peak?
I mean, all 3 or 4, like the 4 of them that I've studied, 4 or 5, it's between like 150x and 300x in a 3 to 6 month period. So I'm thinking that with a superior product, with the right time frame, and it seems like we're going to launch in a really good position where we're kind of low in the market, and if we push this all the way out. You know, if you look at the Bitcoin halving cycles and all that, it's extended possibly into 2023. We could have a really solid run on PulseX. I think so. So I think it's going to run hard. I think it would do more than 500 to 1,000x would be reasonable at some point in 2 years. I really do.
I agree with the sentiments from Johnny here on the bottom of the screen. Space has been comfortable with selling stick figures. They got away with it. No need to create a portrait. Perhaps they don't have the ability to create a portrait because they never needed to.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think
what's that mean? I don't get that.
Meaning that they basically did a bunch of promise coins and roadmaps and BS, and they made hundreds of millions of dollars doing that. They never developed the ability to create a working product like Hex or a working product like Pulsechain is going to be. So they may not even have that ability, even if they wanted to, which I appreciate that. And then Kachi says that excuse me, Dixon sounds like Funding Jim on some of your words and
bottom left guy. That's
bottom
not
left.
me.
Sorry, bottom left. Sorry, I'm dyslexic. We'll go with
that's a good thing, Goldman. Children of the Grave is giving you a compliment.
Goldman Hex. Goldman Hex.
That's a good thing.
A lot
Yes.
like
Funding Jim, Gary.
Like Funding Jim with your thought out.
Wait, who? I'm not seeing. Can you highlight
it? Kachi right there.
Kachi, that's Funding Jim.
No, they say you sound like Funding Jim with your questions, your wording.
Oh, well, thanks.
Congratulations.
Yeah, no, I actually like Funding Jim a lot. He and I we have some similarities. But I want to mention something about the price run up in X's. I know we've probably explored this narrative in the past, but do you think if COVID didn't happen, would we really be here where we're at now in terms of the amount of money that flowed into crypto? Do you think it would be the same, more, less?
You mean because of all the stimulus or what?
Yeah, in a nutshell.
I think it'd be more because we wouldn't have had the COVID dip. Yeah, I would be higher than we should be now. Yeah, it'd be more money. More
Yeah,
printing.
because a lot of people say it would have been less, and I go, I think it probably would have been the same. I think that this Federal Reserve charade, it just goes on until they're all dead. Because
Yes.
well, and like this is why when I see people post political stuff, I'm definitely not gonna get into politics in this. But I see people post this political rants on either side. I go, you know what, dude? Most of these people they're all in the same party. They got way more money than all of us. They all have a hidden agenda. There's like a similar layer to all of these people, left, right, whatever. And so I go, why even waste your time thinking about that? The Federal Reserve is really what matters here. You are a domestic slave if you work hourly. You're not being paid more by the hour at any job, or you'll get a 10-cent raise. That's when you should probably quit, right? Or if you get a job where you get promoted, basically what they're doing is they're promoting you to salary. So now you get more money, but you work more hours at a lot of companies. But with that said, like I look at like the macro event, to digress, excuse me, to go back to would we have gone up this high or not? And then, will we go that high that fast in PulseX or Pulsechain or what have you? I feel like it will be a little bit slower. Just because like I think that what's happened is a lot of people have gotten liquidated over and over and over and over again. And over time, that again is the net negative where the exchanges are just making a lot of money. Now I know when a long gets liquidated, right, a short is essentially getting paid. But as those amounts expand, it's more fees that the exchanges are taking. So it's like an options contract. It eventually expires worthless at zero, but the person who made the market and sold the contract captured all that premium. That's the exchange in a nutshell. I know there's winning traders and there's losers, but I guess I'm trying to think of this as like, I don't know. The way that the market moved in the last several months, it's miners paying bills and it's just people getting liquidated. And a lot of people, I think, kind of miss that as to what's happening, like these scam wicks that we've seen on Kraken and all that stuff. But where I'm driving that point into is that, like, I miss the old days of Bitcoin when people could just buy it and hold it or just sell it. I'm not a fan of the margin trading. They go, oh, yeah, but that'll make the price go up faster. Yeah, I'll make it also go down faster.
Dude, do you remember 2018, 2017 on BitMEX, the Bart Simpsons of the price?
Oh my god,
Yeah.
dude.
It was insane. Someone was running, I forget what they called it. It was like a volatility ignition bot, which is illegal. But like since it was crypto, people were able to like they basically somehow force the market or get other bots to basically push up the price, and then it goes oop, 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 looks like Bart's head, his hair, and then and then it'd make like a new low. Like you never knew when this stuff was coming. It was just to liquidate everybody, and then oh, is it gonna go up? Nope, liquidate everybody down again, and it would be reverse Bart's. It was like ridiculous. I don't see that so much in crypto anymore, but that was a ridiculous time to trade.
Well, that's what I'm wondering. Is because the market's changed. And well, all the markets have changed. Nothing makes sense anymore, right? Federal Reserve announces interest rate hike, market goes up. What? Or like what's happening with commodity markets and all this stuff. And
why does that not make sense? I mean, doesn't it make sense that if they're going to raise interest rates, are people not going to put money into assets that are going to appreciate better than traditional markets or traditional finance?
I understand what you're saying. Like, would they go into commodities? Yeah, I wasn't trying to make that connection.
Okay.
I understand how that may have been mistaken.
Okay.
Separate the two just for now.
All right.
Like oil, right? Like we saw that huge run up where I use USO as a proxy, probably not a good one. I think USO went to like 87 and just dumped hard to like 67, and now we're back at 81. That was just a shakeout. That was just to get all the options to expire worthless or to shake out people who are too long. Okay, fine. So like things like that, super irrational, right? Markets will stay, rational longer. You can say so, and we've all heard that before. But like right now, I feel like the S&P 500 should be at like 3,000 just from a fundamental standpoint, but it's not because we have inflation and that's going to happen. nothing's making any sense anymore. I guess that's what I'm really kind of getting at, and that's making it harder for me to go, oh, how long will it take for PulseX or any of these things to go to the moon? How many people really have their eyeballs in crypto? Am I using an accurate measurement system or sources of information in trying to determine these things? Like
Peter Schiff said I should buy gold.
right.
I mean, so like look at total assets under management. Total assets under management, like globally, I think it's sitting around like 110 or 120 trillion right now.
Ooh.
So if you have 110 or 120 trillion total assets under management, and the current crypto market cap at large is only, what are we at? Like at 2 trillion. We just broke 2 trillion again, like yesterday.
We're all rich again.
Yeah. So even if that 110 trillion, let's say 30 or 40 or 50%, let's say 40% of that is just due to inflation, and it's a bubble. Well, even if people start seeing crypto as a way to be able to take that money and actually, that's a real thing. If we can tap into even 10% of that, of the 110 trillion, and that's the trajectory that we're on right now. I think that in the next like probably 2 to 4 years, we'll be at a 10 trillion total crypto market cap.
Imagine
and then I think we go higher from there.
We're gonna have the Hex jet.
Oh man,
This is also gonna hinge upon
Nation state.
dude. I really believe that a 1,000,000%.
Well, what's your take on the comment right now on screen? Because it goes hand in hand with what you're saying about the future of the market cap, things like that. It never occurs to people that what we have is the best that current industry can give. Because Richard Hart's, I agree with him when he says blockchain is only useful for stuff that you want to do that's permissionless, right?
Yeah.
Because if people are already doing it in the regular world and it's already allowed, then blockchain is just a slow, heavy technology, right? But if you look at it, what is the best that the crypto industry can give right now?
I don't think the crypto industry is highly researched or vetted. So I think that people are going to just go with the herd mentality a lot of times until this place matures. The smart people who actually start looking at things objectively, they're going to see that we have the best type of stuff. But that's not going to happen for a while. But that also, I hate saying this over and over, but it is true. The fact that the industry is so early and Hex is so early as well, it can go absolutely crazy once the right people, smart people that are in charge of a lot of money start seeing this. It's going to be a domino effect. And I think it's going to take off. So that would be my answer to that. We're just too immature as an industry as a whole to really understand what's good and what's not. It's just too herd mentality. Not a lot of people understand it. Nobody understands crypto like our community does. Nobody.
And people they're like, oh, this technology is it's like 12 years old. Well, you're like, well, that's just Bitcoin. This newer stuff is only like 5 years old.
Right.
It's like 6 years old or something. And Hex is only 2 years old, and it's the best. So like we're gonna keep coming up with these new and better solutions to these problems. The problem of like too much fiat printing, and how do we keep it censorship resistant enough that it can't be shut down, and we can actually send value around the world and accrue value and store it safely. All this stuff's going to be improved. The UX is going to be improved. So there's still just all this new stuff being developed. Someone has to develop it. And it seems like Richard's doing a good job. I like what his team's been doing. So
Dude,
I like putting my money with the team who their goal is to make the highest performing assets in history. That's the team I want my money with.
Yeah.
It seems like a no-brainer, but a lot of people they look at Richard and they get feel bad about something that he said. Sometimes he does say some things you're like, what did he say that for? But if you can look past that and be like, okay, this guy's got a lot of wisdom to him. He's been around the world a lot. He knows what he's talking about. He's been in earlier than most people, and he's still around. Like, he has a lot of knowledge in the space.
The first time that I ever saw a Richard Hart video, so my YouTube feed had a lot of parodies in it, and I swear I thought that he was doing a parody of the comic book store owner from The Simpsons.
You just thought he was like doing a bit. And you're like, oh wait, he's legit.
I swear I thought that's what he was doing, and I go, wait a minute, this guy's like serious. Wait, this guy's not hyping up like specific altcoins. Wait, he's debating this Roger Ver guy. And then, not to get into that story, but yeah, that's what I thought when
you're expecting him to say something like "worst crypto ever."
Yeah, because because I had like a bunch of parodies popping up because I was looking up like Halloween Michael Myers parodies of like when he's like outside of the boombox. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that, but one thing back to like what they're saying about the level of technical expertise that people have in like the Hex community and all of that. It really bothers me when people on the news especially say the blockchain. They make it sound like there's only one and it's Bitcoin, and then people think
you're early.
In order to get involved in blockchain, I gotta buy my .0008971 of a Bitcoin because that's all I can afford. And it takes away from the idea that like, no, there's different blockchains, there's different technologies, there's use cases, or there's reasons behind these different projects. And that's why the maximalist theory of Bitcoin, it's easily debunked. Bitcoin is just a technology, just like how we had Atari, Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Neo Geo, Sega Genesis, and the list goes on.
They don't update the crap. It's not getting updates. Like new
in
technology
Vegas,
that's better is out, and they don't have it.
And I don't mean to say. I'll make a confession. When we were in Vegas for the Hex convention, my brother coincidentally was in Vegas. Why? He's at the Unconfiscatable, the Bitcoin conference. He says, "Hey, I got a extra ticket for you for the conference. You want to come?" And I'm thinking like, "Oh my god, can I wear my Hex T-shirt?" And right when I thought that, he sends me a message. He goes, "And you're not allowed to talk about Hex at the conference." I'm going like,
why?
All right.
See, like, if you're confident in the thing you're in, why would you care what other people do, right? It shouldn't matter. So you're like, why do all these Bitcoin people, they hate when people talk about altcoins? They're like, no, we only talk about Bitcoin. Don't talk about anything else.
Yeah, and so I played I actually got 7th place in the poker tournament that they had, and Tone was in it. And I said, "Hey, what's up, man?" Like, I'm thinking like, God, this is a guy that like everybody hates. And so I just thought, and my name in the registration card was Goldman Hex. I know he saw it, but he kept quiet. He didn't say anything about it. And but I'm at this thing, and I'm inside this room, and everybody who's in there, not everybody, but some of the people in there are like shilling their company that they represent. And some are decent companies and what they do. And I'm thinking like, so you'll allow all of the like next layer companies that have their own vested interest in their own thing. That company is a project, just like another token is another project. So you'll allow all these other people who are just in there to basically pump their own bag. But when it comes to a coin or an emerging technology, you're not allowed to do that. It's hypocrisy kind of at its finest in a sense.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
It just outlines the importance of us taking the bull by the horns and creating everything on our own.
Yeah.
So we can't be gatekept. We have the funds and the resources now to just do our own thing. It doesn't matter anymore. And that would be probably something that I'd like to see, maybe more coordination with things like that. I'm glad we have the Hex conference. I'm glad we have, I don't know a lot about PulseCon. I know who's running it, and I know that there's going to be a lot of different types of projects represented there. But as long as we're not gatekeeping speech, I feel good about it.
It's so smart, like that Richard built this whole Pulsechain project as an Ethereum, compatible fork. That's amazing for future development. You don't have to, come learn our new code, developers. Let's reduce the size of the pool of people who know how to run this stuff to even more insignificant amounts. Like now, like I think Hodl Dog made a post the other day, and Richard was like, "Nice," because it was a guy holding up a sign. He's like, It's like a PSA. If you're an Ethereum developer, you're also a Pulsechain developer. Awesome. That's true. It's super
I
important.
reposted that to Instagram.
It was hilarious. Richard liked
Dude,
it.
his sign is
It's
great.
important. It's important we want to be able to onboard as many smart-minded people. Not that you have to be a developer to be smart, but those guys are the guys who can actually code this stuff, this new technology, and you want to be as inviting and as easy for them to learn or more people to come on to help you in the future. And so being a part of the biggest, I guess, developer ecosystem, which like Ethereum has, I don't think any other blockchain has more developers. Like that's what that if we built a separate chain that was like, we're just gonna build our own with a different code base, it would be just infinitely worse than what we have now. So I'm so glad he went with that decision. So smart.
Yeah,
Look at just
Latin
Go ahead,
America
sorry.
was just adding to what you were saying. The developers on Pulsechain are actually appreciated, not an afterthought like a lot of the ETH developers.
Well, I think it's so you guys have heard that El Salvador is creating a Bitcoin city, correct? You guys heard about that?
It sounds
doesn't
like
surprise me.
it's like a joke or something, right?
It's not a joke at all. In fact, they're selling a bond to raise money, and the bond is going to be valued at $1 billion, and I think they've already done it. Now, and you guys need to research this because I talked about this the other day, and it absolutely blew my mind. So the city, it's going to, and I'm reading off a news article here. El Salvador plans to construct a Bitcoin city near a volcano that will be funded by the cryptocurrency. The country's president, Nayib, announced Saturday. The city will have residential and commercial areas, services, entertainment. They have a Bitcoin bond. They will have no taxes, 0 taxes on anything, 0 federal taxes, 0 anything.
Crypto is the best.
What's the relevance of the volcano?
Yeah, the relevance of volcanoes, they're going to use the power from the volcano for Bitcoin miners.
Okay.
Stop trolling us. Right?
Guys, I'm not trolling you. Look
Not
it up.
funny anymore.
Guys, they're about to go through with it. It's serious.
Get your passports, boys.
It's
I'm
even
going
it's
into the
created.
volcano.
The city from satellite is a coin. It's a Bitcoin. It's circular.
Yeah, how's that land in South Sudan going for you that you bought?
Wait a minute.
Guys, there's some really, really positive things about that. You guys knocked me for that, but there's some positive things.
How's Egypt,
It's
bro?
one eruption away from nuking, Bitcoinia.
Well, you have to talk to a geologist about that. I don't think who knows. But here's the point. This is a serious thing that they're doing. And this is kind of like one of those things that we've always wanted to like
sacrifice.
Let's take a bunch of money and let's create a city with no taxes or anything like that. And let's have true freedom. Let's get away from the Federal Reserve and the US dollar. Let's get away from the IMF. And now they're going to be able to do what they want without massive pressure from these huge banking or governing agencies economically. So the interesting thing here is they raised $1 billion to create this city. There's not going to be any taxes or anything like that. Everything's going to be transacted in cryptocurrency. And it would be neat to see if that goes well, if other people could do that. I'm pretty sure $1 billion, well, we hit that mark pretty easily. So I find it very interesting.
10-minute confirmation.
This is the deal with the sacrifice for that is you're literally throwing a virgin into a volcano. So that's a totally different kind of sacrifice phase.
You watch that thing take off. I'm telling you.
I thought this guy said he lived in Guatemala for 45 minutes. I thought that's what he said. What he says he lives 45 minutes away from El Salvador. Okay. I was like, dang, it can't be that bad, right?
El Salvador has other problems though. Like they were in the dollar, and now they're leaving the dollar. Well, that's a problem. Like there's a guy you can watch on YouTube. His name is Steve Hanke. He's like a central banker. He's been like helping them make the rules for like 50 years. And like El Salvador screwed up. Now they're going like pirate style. They're breaking away from the United States. They're breaking away from the Federal Reserve. They're saying, fuck you guys. We're going to do crypto and do whatever corruption we want. And they're trying to split off. So they're going to get sanctions and they're going to get screwed by the United States is going to come after them basically. So it's
after them.
But they can the United States, if everything's in Bitcoin, what can the United States do?
If all their wealth is in another currency, what are they going to get from them?
There's no fiat on ramps and off ramps. Then
That they can create their own off ramps and on ramps. That's the point. I've been begging El Salvador to do that for the world. So
you've been begging El Salvador? Yeah, you got his number,
dude. Begging. I would love it.
Talking about?
Think about it's the best opportunity for us not to be attacked from the government to shut down Binance or Coinbase. El Salvador is no longer connected. If they created a fiat on ramp and off ramp, that would be incredible.
They don't have a bank though. They had the dollar. They left the dollar. Now they have nothing. So now they're going to use Bitcoin.
You can create a bank.
They don't have a bank.
You can create banks. You can freaking Google how to create a bank.
I think we're better off getting all of the world eventually on board, because that's the benefit of trade is if you lock off 99% of the other people and just you and your 10 friends try to run your life, you're going to find out, oh, we don't even have a mechanic. We can't make a car. Oh, this sucks. I can't heat up my food. Don't know how to make a microwave, and no one will trade me one. It's like you got to have more people who are all in on the same idea that you agree with. Like
El Salvador is a country. It's a country.
But they're stuck on proof of waste and proof of work. They really need to get onto proof of stake in order to jump into this. It's almost like a country being like, hey, we're going to make all of our money building VCRs and selling VCRs, right? Like, no.
Wow, you just wrecked Bitcoin.
That is not a good idea.
Let me ask you guys this question.
Here, are you recording this stream on your VCR right now?
I'll ask you guys this. Do you think that El Salvador, by putting their money in, all in on Bitcoin, is better off than the Federal Reserve of the United States?
Well, that's not really
if
tough.
the United States comes and attacks, that's probably not ideal. But
I would say almost every form of money is better than the Federal Reserve's form of money. Like trading beads and pogs. Like doing pogs with slammers is a better currency form than dealing with the Federal Reserve.
I don't know about that.
I never did get to play pogs, but I used to have some.
I want to put all this. We hear all this garbage talked about the Federal Reserve, and now we actually have a country that's going all in on Bitcoin, and everybody's confused or cautious or weird about it.
They're just mad they didn't pick our coin. They're like, oh, if they would have picked our coin, we'd be happy. But also Bitcoin is just too slow.
Well, I think that there's a lot of things that, as a world, we thought of or created for the concept of stability. We had a good intention at first. And then along comes corruption somewhere down that value chain. It happened with Bitcoin and then Ethereum and then shit tokens, right? It happened with even like food. We grow food and then we found ways to grow it at a faster rate at a cheaper price that ends up making people fatter. On and on and on. It happens to like many things. And I believe from what they claim as the sales pitch as to what the Federal Reserve's function was to provide stability to
regions.
So, or society, but more like stability to the markets where all their other value is already essentially stored. And then, more corruption follows. And so I feel like it's more of one of those, where are we at as people in the timeline of the evolution of that, whatever that thing was created. And unfortunately, we're all of us sitting here, we're all kind of at like many ends of many roads, and we seek change in things. And it's hard for people just to change in general, right? Like when we wake up in the morning, we all have our bad habits, right? Or maybe I just do. I look at my phone. Okay. How do I break that? I don't know. Throw the phone away. So how do we break the habit of relying on the dollar? We throw the dollar away? No, we switch to something else. But doing it overnight, like the way El Salvador does, it's very hard to like gauge that, because that they didn't really transition. They were just like, oh, like we're gonna rug ourselves and hope this other thing works.
No, they had been buying Bitcoin. The Treasury had been buying Bitcoin for a while.
True. Yeah.
So
I agree.
But if
it's interesting,
if El Salvador was doing this with Hex, we would all be on board. We would be drooling at the mouth.
Yeah, but we'd be drooling at the mouth for a couple of different reasons too.
Our own personal gains.
Not only on our own personal gains, but Hex has less attack vectors. It's faster. And when Pulsechain launches, then obviously that's great. I think we're all. I personally applaud their effort to find more freedom and to break away from control. I think we're all in favor of every country or every group of people doing that, especially people that are taken advantage of by their government, by the banks, more so than we are in America, right?
I want to put a scenario out there real quick, and this is not a pro dollar scenario. It is I'm curious what you guys have to say about it, but would the United States be where it's at right now as technologically advanced and with the infrastructure we have? 90% of things that have grown in the United States is due to subsidies and then printing money.
No, it's not due to that.
No, that just happens to be the case because you didn't
I
have
don't
a
think
choice.
it is.
It's just happened alongside of it.
The reason the United States is
Is that
dominant
why
is
it did
the way
well,
that-
or it would have done well without it?
Yeah,
How would the United States have done 200 years ago? If 200 years ago, before we had streets, highways, interstates, all the infrastructure we have, how would it have done if we were under the Bitcoin standard, where they can't print money and subsidize things because they don't have the money to give?
Well, think
think
about
the
the
free
U.S.
market just
dollar.
picks
We've
it
got
up.
no plan for it. You don't know. So I say this all the time. The Federal Reserve, for example, sets all the monetary policy really for the world. Not for the world literally, but for most of the world. 122 or
Coincidentally.
123 countries use the U.S. dollar. So, but the problem is we have no constitution when it comes to economic policy. It's just hoping and praying that the next guy who gets elected the chair of the Fed is going to be smarter than the guy before. So when shit hits the fan, one guy is going to react completely differently to the other guy because there is no economic policy with the US dollar. Now, however, with cryptocurrency, we know exactly how it happens and how it's going to happen and how it's going to operate because it's coded. So I would say that with our form of government and the types of things that we latched onto back then, rugged individualism, innovation, et cetera, empowering the individual to take charge of their own life, coupled with something like Bitcoin 200 years ago, I think we would be far ahead of where we are now, personally. Now, the U.S. dollar was a whole lot better back then. The founding fathers, they hated any resemblance of the Federal Reserve whatsoever because
Any
they learned the
central
lessons
bank
of the Bank
entity,
of England and the Bank
They
of
tried
France.
to stop it 3 times.
Yeah, even in 1913 was the Fed created, I think. 1913, man.
maybe?
Yeah,
It
1913.
was like, I mean,
No,
people were
13 or
threatening
11.
to bomb, the government because they said we don't want this entity interfering. We don't want the government interfering with our money. But they pushed it through anyway. It worked for a long time, but slowly legislation just ate away at the concept. And now here we are today with no accountability and no constitution in terms of economic policy. I think we need Bitcoin. I think we need cryptocurrency, man. Especially good ones, especially what we have.
Yeah, and Johnny Chaos is saying we need adoption, not exclusion. So at this point, what El Salvador is doing is they're excluding themselves from the rest of the country in pursuit of, more freedom. I would think. And,
No, the whole country. The whole country is adopting it. It's not just a city.
No, he's saying that the country is excluding itself from everyone else, and every time someone tries to get out of the grasp of the IMF and the WEF, all of a sudden we send a bunch of freedom their way, and their dictator ends up,
No, here's what's
more.
cool. The cool
Send
thing
in the
is,
freedom.
it's going to be a great opportunity for everybody to watch and observe and see what the play is going to be from the banks and see what the play is going to be from the governments, and you can learn by their reaction. Unfortunately, El Salvador they're the hamster on the hamster wheel right now. They are the test.
They're the guinea pig.
And it's going to be it'll be interesting to learn from. Very interesting.
Yeah, check
Positive
out
and negative.
the Titanic, the story of the Titanic, and
Well,
JP Morgan there.
Wow,
I'm
Paul
sure you
got
guys
us
know
with the
about that
alpha
one.
there.
Can
You're
I
about to get banned in 3, 2.
I was about to say, can I rug myself real quick?
Yeah,
So I'm going to say something that I think that a lot of people are going to disagree with, and that's okay. But I am for regulation in the crypto space with conditions. This doesn't mean, oh, please make DeFi illegal. This doesn't mean, oh, please tax everything. Not like that. government's coming for it no matter what. How does the government make money? Tax. Okay. If you want crypto to stay, they're going to tax it. If not already, we pay taxes on crypto gains. Fine. If we have more exchanges that can pop up, if we have more people or more companies popping up, allowing fiat on-ramps to get into crypto, all our bags get pumped. We want people to feel safe coming into crypto, like as just a general consensus. Yeah, I can buy Bitcoin easily. Okay. If DeFi is here to stay with that environment, cool. But the I feel like this traces back to the Bitcoin narrative of we don't want government involved and blah blah blah. And I go, you know what? In the United States, government has their hands essentially in everything. I'm not saying just give in. I'm not saying like that's okay. I'm not saying I like that. But if you want the price to go up, you need more people buying this stuff. How do you encourage more people to buy it? Make them feel safer and have more places where they can easily get their hands on this stuff. Am I crazy to think this, or am I onto something?
I think Hex God Turtle is backing you up here, saying that regulation will make government feel better about crypto for sure.
It has nothing. So I
like
think it's a combination of both. Yeah,
it's like a loaded word. There's so much nuance of like regulation. Yeah. It's like jam packed. Like, okay, what does that mean? Like,
that's why I outlined a few like conditions to it, right?
It's
like
so deep, like to just
because most people hear libertarian mindset is regulation equals government equals bad, not for me. No.
Yeah.
Eat steak, lift weights, Bitcoin.
Yeah, I like Richard's description of like free market isn't regulation free. It's free market includes regulation, because if you didn't have regulation, then there would be monopolies and it wouldn't be a real free market.
It's the argument he had with that lunatic Bruce back in his early days. That was his whole
the guy who was like yelling and he like, I'm leaving. F you.
Yeah, that guy was so. That guy's going to be his. Yeah, that guy's going to be his own EMT. He's going to be his own army. He's going to be his own policeman. He's going to be his own plumber, and he's going to pave his own road. Like that guy just thinks like, I want everybody to leave me alone. It's like, yeah, you got that same mentality. Every other like early guy that made it big in Bitcoin does. It's just this asshole mentality of like, I got mine. Fuck you. Leave me alone. It's like, have fun being alone, bro. Right. And this is also the argument I make against people who are like, yeah, Richard's going to rug the project. I go, okay. So he's already got $1 billion. He really just wants to have a bunch of enemies that want to come kill him and like have like no
crazy.
Friends.
Yeah. Anytime someone says, hey, he can rug it, he could sell, or a big whale could sell, it's like, oh, what can you actually pull out of the Hex liquidity pool? Max, maybe like 30 mil.
If you really want to find out where Richard lived,
30 mil.
Yeah,
that
too.
You might as well wait until the pie is insanely large, and then maybe you can sell a tiny, tiny little bit. It's like there's no reason to completely rug a project, because what are you going to do with the funds anyway? Just go, haha, more funds now. No, you want stuff to get done, so you want to spend your money wisely on like he wants to do medical research. He wants to get into politics and actually make change in the governing sector. It's like this requires amounts of capital we don't have yet, even though it seems like he may have a lot. We need a lot more. So, and like we need a lot of different individuals to have individual financial power too, not just one guy, but we're all kind of rising up in the ranks as this crypto stuff grows to make more influence in the world.
And I don't know if this thought has ever been voiced, and I'm just going to say it, and I'm not trying to spread FUD at all, but like, here's a news flash for everybody who's like, oh, like, Richard's going to rug one day and all that. Okay, we all know, we know where the ETH went, likely where it may have gone. Fine. The other thing is if you already had money, and we know where that ETH went, and it wasn't recycled ETH, okay, well, some of that ETH eventually got sold. That went to a bank account somewhere. That bank account then went onto an exchange somewhere and bought more stable coins or ETH, and then probably bought more Hex in separate wallets somewhere. And those wallets may have sold at a profit somewhere. So there's a chance that the OA or somebody related to OA could have easily taken profits from.
Possible.
We
still went up 10,000x, didn't we?
And we still went up 10,000x. So like,
newsflash for that happened anyway.
Newsflash for the world: Richard Hart has already made his money. He may make more. Where'd the sacrifice go? It's like when you're a billionaire like you don't need to kill the project and have the whole world hate you. Because guess what? You want to find where Richard lives? You go talk to that genius CFD token guy. He knows where he lives. You go find Bikini Girl. It's not that hard. I don't see where people can't understand this. He's not this. He really isn't the Simpsons guy in the back of the comic book store hiding from the world.
I want to put an analogy on that, like a real world analogy where if you're getting into business, you always want to get into business with somebody that has more money than you. And
whales only.
Is that what he said?
No, like whales only. The Hexagon. Yep. Ever since I seen his name, I changed my business philosophy. I literally put on my company website, we only partner with businesses with a monthly budget of $5,000 or more. I don't even want to touch you if you got less than that.
It takes the same amount of time, but you make more money with others. So it's like,
don't even talk to me if you're broke. I'm going to be 40 next year. Like, enough of broke people, okay?
Yep.
Sorry. Keep going.
It's an ugly truth. I mean, that's the thing. Yeah. Though. Like, it's very, very hard to get hurt in business when you have the least money in the partnership. And if you want to look at crypto as anything like that, you want to be with the most wealthy founder, because this guy, if you just look at
Richard, this take before, that's pretty cool.
Right. Okay. Sorry, I got distracted. But yeah, you want to be with the most wealthy person because it's in his best interest not to rug this, because it could get
he has the most bigger. To lose.
He has the most to lose, right? But even sorry, I got kind of sidetracked there, but I'll let you guys.
I'm sorry, I interrupted you. So
no, you're good. You're good.
I understand your point. It's like, why? Like, the guy with all the money is going to take the little bit of the rest of the money and just like kill, like he says, like, who's going to kill Bessie the cow?
It's in his best interest to keep going.
Bessie's titties aren't even fully matured yet.
What are we talking about? I don't know what we're talking about.
We're talking about Bessie's titties.
I'm talking about Hex is at 15 cents, 16 cents right now, and like
we're almost at 16 cents.
16 cents,
16.9. I saw
it's nothing. People just it's this fear mindset that they're scared, and it comes from the way you're brought up. It comes from what happened in 2017 with Bitcoin, all the other crashes. We just had 80% down. These guys were like, "Oh, Hex is." Some guy yesterday trolled me like, "Blah blah blah, Elliott wave. It's going to 6 cents." I'm like, "Have fun with your Elliott waves, bro." Okay, like
it's the scarcity mentality. And if I can break in here for a second, if you guys haven't seen Rags After Dark, where he talks about different things to consider when finding a territory or a sovereign state or somewhere to start something like that. Check out Rags After Dark. How many rags ago was that? Was that 3 or 4 After Darks ago?
Yeah, 3 rags ago.
It was 3 rags ago. Check that out for sure. And I did want Rags to address the question on the screen. Do you guys think liquid loans will have a problem with their Oracle?
I have no clue, and that's, in my opinion, that's up to them to figure out. If they have a problem, they'll fix it. If they don't,
well, we finally had a tech question, so I thought I'd throw that out there on Tech Talk after going.
No, that's just hard.
That's Alex Jones and the conspiracy theory train we've been riding.
Did I hear their Oracle was going to be just using the PulseX price feed, or did I hear that wrong? They were going to use the PulseX price feed as their Oracle, basically. Did I understand that wrong when I heard that from somewhere?
I heard that's just one of the price feeds, and they're going to have this whole system of federated Oracle servers that magically check all the exchanges and aggregate the best data, and then they always have the best price for $1 worth of Pulse. Yeah, that's how it works. Okay, good luck, boys.
That was my smallest sacrifice.
Probably a wise choice. Mine as well.
I mean, the odds I think are better with that than Blackjack in Vegas. So
yeah, and the return should be way bigger too if it does take off or it does work. Yeah. Even if they just launch the LL token, like at least it'll probably launch higher, and you can just dump it and like, hey, I made a 5x or 10x, yay! It's like whatever, that's okay.
I got a lot of. I made a comment like right when I got to Twitter, and I got a lot of pushback on it that I was saying like, if you have an option to invest in Pulsechain or PulseX, and then you also have an option to invest in all the other sacrifices going on, So you're inheriting more risk going into other sacrifices, because not only do you need Pulsechain to succeed, then that needs to succeed.
Compounding.
So it's compounding succession. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like if we buy Pulsechain,
And are they really going to do better than the main projects?
That's exactly what I said. I got crucified for it, man. I made a little comment about it. I got crucified.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Dude,
yeah.
Yeah. I think just speak what you think, you know, and eventually
I'm good with that.
That's what everyone's got to do, I feel.
Yeah.
But you have double the risk if you have to have Pulsechain succeed, and then you have to have that succeed. Pulsechain, you just need one thing to succeed. So you're compounding risk getting into more things on Pulsechain.
How could anybody argue that it's anything different than what you just said? That's just true, right?
Dude, I will pull the feed
it's not
up.
really even FUD. It's just I
don't support Pulsechain because we need things on there for it to succeed and whatnot. I wasn't questioning the project. I was questioning the token price, you know? And I think there's two major differences between the two, in my opinion.
When are you covering Flat Earth on the next Rags After Dark, Rags?
I've used and abused that community too much, so that's why Jawa never shows up anymore.
So my thing with the Flat Earthers is I'm like, hey, like I'll pay the whole trip, take me to the edge.
They try to go to the edge. Well, so I talked to David Weiss. Here he says
we're talking about on Tech Talk.
I'm ready to go.
You guys want to talk about it? Here we go. I know all
I
about
live on
it.
the edge. You guys know all about it. I showed you how to live on the edge at the dice table.
This is a spicy tech talk. I love this. Keep going.
All right, so you got Antarctica, right?
Oh man,
gosh.
Here we go.
All right, so they say that if they all they need to do is charter 2 aircraft, start at the same point at the edge of Antarctica somewhere. Whoa.
What the dude?
Is that the dead body you put in your feeling?
What was that?
That was the only one that keeps me company in here. It's the plant, and that
Plant?
thing is toast now. Yeah, you
So-
like to keep a nice
A plant can
in
jump? What was that?
here. It got blown out of the window, so
It started hearing about flat Earth. It said, "F this, I'm out."
Yeah, dude. It just
my
pieced
plant
it.
just rugged us on the flat Earth discussion.
All right, so you take 2 aircraft,
I'm gonna join the
start at the same
sunglass
point,
crew.
and
Yes.
you have to fly around the entire edge of Antarctica. So one aircraft goes right, the other aircraft goes left, and they follow the edge. And if they meet, and they meet at the other side, and they both did about 6,000 miles, that means that the Earth is globular, whatever they call it.
They would just say the whatever thing telling them the amount of miles they went was rigged or something. It's always
No, they
something's
said
wrong.
they said if it's not 6,000, then it has to be like 64,000, because that's the
Isn't it
that's the
possible it's not
edge.
exactly a globe and it's like got weird little
Yeah.
divots and you
The-
fly a
the-
little less too? So it's
hold on. I want to
it's not
inject
even a
something
good
here,
test.
okay? No, yeah, it's not a good test. No, and
Terrible.
I can prove why. Does anybody here know what the Coriolis effect is?
Yeah.
Okay. The
Oh, that
Coriolis-
sounds familiar.
The Coriolis effect, it's like if you take a 2-liter bottle of soda, right? And you hold it like this and you start going around in circles and you see all the soda go to one side, okay?
Isn't that what toilet bowls
That-
do? Something like that? It
No,
depends
you're
on which
thinking
side
of in the northern hemisphere. It goes
yeah.
clockwise.
Oh, that's not the
and then-
Coriolis?
No, that's not.
All
The
right, I'm
Coriolis
done
effect
talking.
is essentially how, like the tides on the Earth, how they shift because you have like the Earth and the Moon spinning around the Sun, right? That's essentially how we create our gravitational force. There's a Coriolis effect that distributes the tides on the Earth during different times of the day, and you also have different like think of like a kind of like a price chart. You have like higher highs, higher lows, lower highs, lower lows of tides that reflect seasonality in different places on the Earth. Okay, that comes from the force of gravity, but the Coriolis effect creates this like uneven distribution over the short run and long run. That's kind of why we have seasons as well. But
Okay, go ahead.
But if you're doing what he's talking about, trying to go around this, like what you think is the same distance, both should be the same. And then if it's not the same, therefore the Earth is flat. Like, is that what they are trying to use?
Think about this. I see what you're saying. I know what you're saying. He's saying that, like, if you were to take a globe, at the bottom, like if you were holding one in your hand right now, at the bottom you see Antarctica. If you were to take that point and kind of spread it out and flatten it out, Antarctica becomes the entire border. And if you take it and then squeeze it back down, now you have a globe again. So they're just making the point that it should be about 12,000 miles. I think he said 12,000 miles in circumference. Now, if it's not 12,000, they take the aircraft and it actually is a flat Earth. That the size of the disk essentially is like something like 64,000 miles, according to their calculations.
Why
So
don't
that's
pictures
what
from
he's
space
saying.
do it for him? I don't get that one.
Say what?
Why don't pictures from space?
Dude, I'm telling you, man. Here's the thing. I'm not a flat earther, but he had some things that, like, he showed, and you can see this too, and NASA admitted to it. They took like 5 or 6 pictures of the Earth from space, really far out, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what you saw was NASA photoshopped the same cloud structures in the southern hemisphere of all the photos, even though they were taken at different times. Now, what's that going to do? That's going to piss a lot of people off. They're going to be like, why would you do that? Why would you just add to the hype? And NASA says, well, we just wanted to doctor it up and make it pretty. Well, that's not going to help anybody who's a flat earther. They're going to be like, oh, that's BS, you know? So just little things like that. It was an interesting stream.
It's got to be able to get new pictures sometime. Like, they don't... Isn't there like a... What's that thing that floats up out in the outer rim all the time? What's that called? The ISS or something?
International Space Station.
They don't have like a camera up there? Just like, boom. Nothing?
Yeah,
Satellite
they
don't
have.
have pictures on... Cameras on them? What's going on here?
Yeah, but they're allocating their resources to what they're actively trying to set and measure. I mean, it's not like you just
Oh yeah, you don't put a
deploy
camera on everything, but it just seems
or
so
for
weird.
everything.
Like,
Oh, I mean, I don't believe the moon landing was totally legit, right? I mean, but we can go conspiracy theory pretty hard here if we have Alex
No,
Jones on the
I
next
don't have
show.
time
This
for
stream is
that.
Hey.
never going to end.
Let's get to
I
tech
like this
talk.
one
I have
here.
I want someone to explain
Yes.
how that plant jumped off the windowsill.
we need Richard Hart and Alex Jones to have a stream together.
I
think that
actually-
would
I would
be-
watch that. That'd be entertaining.
I
actually.
got this plant from Hillary Clinton. So if it tries it again, we all know what's going on. We
Wow.
So check
Wow.
this out. Flat earthers are fighting the globe. They just want to buy up all the globe's all-time lows. Don't fall for it. Love it. Oh, good. We are way over 2 hours now. I wanted to end this with a nice analogy because I saved them for Rags. He likes my analogies.
Oh yeah, they're crazy good.
I was thinking about, you know, they find these hidden cities all the time, you know, these ruins of these giant cities that we didn't even know existed till the last 60, 100 years. And I kind of feel like the Hex community is a lot like these lost cities because there's only a few thousand people that know about this. There's only a few hundred people on all the streams and on the dumpster fire that is Twitter. And I kind of feel like we're building out this civilization with all of our work, all of our streams, all of our Twitter spaces. And, you know, people are slowly but surely going to discover this world that is Hex, right? And by the time they find it, they're going to be blown away by how developed and civilized it is and how many cool people are already here building and working on it. So I just want to give a shout out to all of you guys and the other Hex streamers, the other people, the devs working on stuff, the IT guys, all the people dedicating and volunteering their time and efforts and talents to this amazing community. I think it's really a cool thing to be a part of. And even though the whole world isn't really noticing it or appreciating it right now, I think that someday they will. And so that's my analogy for the week right there. Is we are a hidden city that people will discover eventually, and
El
they'll be
Dorado.
blown away. Blown away.
City of
Bitcoin
gold.
Can
I
I
got a
need
question
to
real
make a
quick. Go
statement
ahead.
too, by the way.
Sure.
All right, this is the David feeder. All right.
Mm.
I made a statement on one of my memes on YouTube this week, and it essentially said that I find it very difficult to trust vegans. But David, I just want to let you know that I trust you, man. I love you, bro.
He's vegan?
Are you?
Yeah. I've been vegan for 6 years. Yeah.
Now, if you notice the post, I said I find it difficult to almost. I said almost, not all. And you were the reason I said almost, by the way.
Wow, really? That's
Yeah.
awesome.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Do you really?
You live rent free in Brandon's head, dude.
Well,
It's like, I can't say all anymore.
Okay, so check this out. Let's everyone chill your stuff. Everyone on here, I believe everyone in here is streaming. Are you streaming, Dixon?
I started making YouTube videos about 2 weeks ago. Yeah.
There we go. We
Nice.
all have websites.
Love it.
Follow us all on Twitter. Follow us all on YouTube. Go ahead and chill your channels
Well,
of
you
what
should
you're
probably
working
put all our
on.
names on the bottom of our things. That makes it easy.
Yeah,
Can't you do that? You can
I
show our
don't
names.
know why that's not showing up, but I did add all of our Twitter tags.
Maybe it's only whenever if there's a comment at the bottom. Maybe that like hides it or something.
Maybe let's see if that helps. I don't know.
It's true. That does hide it.
Hey, I got a question real
Well,
quick before we wrap this up.
well,
K for K is probably going to be like the best answer
There it
for
is.
it.
There we go. Yeah. Okay. There you go. So go for it.
Ooh, there it is. I think I pretty much have the answer for it pretty much, but I'm curious what your take is on it. Anybody that wants to reply, but I think K for K probably is the best answer. But like when the PLSX does its buy and burn, it's essentially selling something for the buy.
That's right.
What happens to what is getting sold for that? And it's a lot of different coins being sold for the
It
buy
goes
and
into
burn,
the
correct?
liquidity pool.
It goes into the liquidity pool.
Yeah, it's sold
and
in.
it just sits there, but does that add? It just adds liquidity then, though, right?
It's just like any other buy or sell. Like if I trade my USDC for Hex, my USDC goes in the pool and I get Hex out.
Mm-hmm.
This does the same thing, except the Hex that gets out, or in this case, PulseX that gets out, the PulseX that it buys just gets burnt. It's sent to an address that no one has access to.
But then it
Burn
it
address.
continually adds more PLS to the pool.
It's not always PLS. It will be
Assuming that's
every
the main
token.
trading pair. Assuming that's the main trading pair. Because that would be what most of the fees are if it's the main trading pair, right?
Most of the fees. I mean, I guess if you're saying if it has to eventually route through that because it's the heaviest liquidity pool, is that what you mean?
Right.
Because then it would buy, I guess, those tokens that doesn't have a good route, it would have to sell its LP token. Well, the dev did say something about like if there's ever a token that is created that doesn't have a direct pulse or PulseX pair, maybe just pulse pair, it has to be manually added or something like that. But yeah, I haven't thought about it for being if pulse is the main pair, if it's just going to be maybe that sells that LP token, turns it into the split stuff, sells those individual tokens for to have to sell it for pulse if that's the pair it has to get into buying PulseX as well. If it doesn't have a direct PulseX pair or if it's not as liquid, so it has to do that.
That's what I was wondering. Like it continues to ratchet up the price, but does it continue to ratchet up the liquidity as also?
Because it'll like buy up Pulse, then sell it down to get PulseX to burn it. That's kind of what happens. Would be in that case. So it just had
Brazologist's comment said it like it just buys a little.
It just changes the ratio.
Yeah, it just changes the ratio just a little. For every buy and burn, it buys a little and burns a little. That's it. It's a slow drip.
So K4K, let everyone know where they can find you, follow you, what you're working on, and maybe leave them with a one-liner of what they should be thinking about this week.
Sure. All right. Well, my stuff's real easy to find. It's just K4K Crypto on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. Mostly on YouTube and Twitter, though. Haven't done anything on Twitch yet, but I might. There's very amazing videos I made in the last week all about PulseX and using it before it comes out on mainnet. So you can actually try out becoming a liquidity provider, how to farm, how to join pools, how to stake PulseX, how to delegate your Pulse, how to use the bridge. Made all those videos in the last week. I did them in like 2 days because I was like, the more time I give people to learn this stuff, the more people that can make more money at the start of launch. You'll have more time to learn it. So there's a bunch of those videos out. That's what I've been pushing out. And I think it's very important to learn that stuff. So That's what
Awesome.
I make,
Awesome.
yeah.
So go learn that stuff. Rags, so where can we find you? What are you working on? And what's the thought for the week?
ragstoRichesSquad.com. You can go there, get all my
What's
stuff.
there? Never been
Yeah.
there before. Let's try this out.
Yeah. And then just I'm gonna start doing some more videos. I probably did about 100 videos, very similar to kind of what K4K is doing. I'll probably start those back up again instead of just doing lives. But I also have Rags After Dark, and I just go over a lot of different topics, typically from the global perspective and how it relates to crypto and finances, etc.
Awesome. And what should people be thinking about this week?
What should people be thinking about? They should be thinking about what K4K just told you. You have an opportunity to learn a lot right now, so you're prepared for when things launch. It's extremely important for you to learn. Even if a lot of you guys work all day, get home, set aside some time, maybe during your lunch break, and just watch a video so you know what to do, because you're losing dollars when you don't understand.
True. Do
All
it now
right.
whenever there's no cost or risk to using testnet. You're not using
Right.
real funds, and you have time. You're not missing out on anything while you're doing it either. At least in regards to mainnet being out, and you didn't get a good trade because you didn't know how to use it. So you want to be confident before mainnet. Right. There you go.
Awesome. Goldman Hex, where can we find you? Follow you? You got YouTube channels as well for people to follow and subscribe to?
Yeah, YouTube and Telegram and Twitter. It's all at Goldman Hex, the one and only. Haha. I've been swamped in working with new marketing clients and projects, so it's sort of taken me away from producing more YouTube content. I also just got over like COVID version 3, the third session of that, and it was like bad. I couldn't talk very well, so I'll try to get back into the YouTube video creation. It's just that there's some I don't want to be too redundant with what everyone else is doing. There's a lot of streamers, so but hey, you know what? There's going to be layers of redundancy anyway. So I'll probably have another couple episodes probably coming out in the next 30 days or so.
What type of content do you make? What do you focus on?
Just rants. I'm
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm like the shit disturber. So when you have if there's weekends coming in and like crap talking the project, I'll come in and defend it, or if I see people spreading anti or vaccine FUD, I just dude, get a life. Like COVID's been over for like 2 years now. Even though we're still catching it, it's like move on. Buy Hex. I want the effing price to go up. That's what I'm here for. That's it. So I'll do whatever I can to help all of our bags do that.
You promised us some odds talk here at the end of the stream.
Oh yeah.
So walk us through some odds, because we had someone in chat saying you helped them win $20 Blackjack. So what are the odds? What do you do when you hit the tables?
Well, I mean, do you want to talk about Blackjack too?
No, just hit us with the craps odds, because you got 2 minutes.
All right. I want to throw out one Blackjack tip that I learned from this wacky guy that was on YouTube a long time ago. And do not try this at home, or no, do not try this at casino. It's not financial advice. I didn't tell you to do this, but if you're interested in losing money, you can go and attempt this at a casino. There's something in Blackjack called wonging, where you don't sit at a table and try to count cards. You wait to see people come in. They start at a fresh shoe, like a 6-deck shoe of cards. And if you see them go through say 2 of the decks and they just totally lose, you then go and jump in after that. You assume that they basically played through the negative count to a point where you may have a better chance of winning. It's a terrible strategy, but you can't get away with counting cards at casinos. But when this guy showed his wonging strategy, I just thought it was funny. So yeah, that's not really true strategy. So yeah, Blackjack's terrible. Don't play it. As for craps, craps is the only table game that exists in any casino in the entire planet where they offer you a bet where there is absolute 0 house edge. There's a condition to the bet. I'll get to the condition last, But the way that craps essentially works is it's a game of probabilities based upon the combinations of the dice rolling. So when you first play craps, 7 or 11 is a winning roll. That's the very start of the game. But you have to place a mandatory pass line bet. So let's say you're playing at a game where the minimum is $25. You'll take a green $25 chip, you'll put it down on the pass line. They give you the dice, you roll the dice. 7 or 11, you lose. 2, 3, 12. Excuse me. 7 or 11, you win. 2 or 3 or 12, you lose. Well, what are the remaining numbers? 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10. Those are the squares that you see along the table, along the first half and along the second half. So the casinos basically says, okay, in order for you to win even money on the pass line, you need to roll whatever that other number was that you rolled. Let's call it a 4. Okay. Well, the odds of you now rolling a 4 is 3 to 1. Essentially, the 7 is going to, excuse me, it's 2 to 1. There's 6 ways to roll a 7. That's how you're going to lose, right? There's 3 ways to roll the 4. So 6 divided by 3 is 2 to 1. The house has a 2 to 1 advantage against you at that point, right? So if you roll that 4, they're only paying you even money on the pass line. They're stealing money from you. They're not paying you correctly. So they give you a proposition in you can bet behind the line now. And whatever amount you bet behind the line, they pay you the true odds. And the true odds means that they have no edge against you on that part of the bet. And they let you bet an amount that is equal to the total number of probabilities of rolling that number. So again, in this instance, the number you need to roll again is a 4. So they let you bet 3 times the amount behind the line. So you got a quarter in front and you got 75 behind. So if you throw a 4, you get $1.50 paid right on the back. $75 of that is the juice. And then you get paid even money in the front. So the entire amount you win, they still have a slight edge against you on the first bet that you made. And if you play craps, that bet you better be maxing out all day long when you play the game. There's nothing else you should theoretically be playing on the board. So you always back up your pass line bet with a maximum amount that they will let you do so.
Still sounds like you are losing the house because you always have that. They have that little bit. You always have to not get the best ratio on. So you're still down below 50.
They always
overall
have they always have an edge against you. But you, in terms of your optionality to hedge back against them, you should always be maximizing that amount that you can put. So on
so
numbers,
increase your edge, you have to go
monetary risk. That's correct.
You gotta put more in. Wow, that's a cleverly designed game.
So there's places on the strip that offer you up to 100 times behind the line.
Oh, if they let you do that, wow.
So if it's your lucky day and you have a massive bankroll, right, then you'll kill it. But in the long run, you're going to lose. But
yeah, you'll still lose long run. So what's up with that? I guess for fun, it's pretty good rate or chances. You're saying, yeah.
The casinos, it's not about the variance. About one day that eventually that guy's going to just get unlucky here. No. Casinos are about extraction. They find a way to extract value from you. Like instead of like MEV, like minor extracted value, it's like CEV, casino extracted value. So they find a way to piece out these little slivers of value against you, and they do it through the course of your winnings. It's not about when you lose. It's about that they don't pay you right when you actually do win. So on the strip, the way they sucker people in to blackjack, come on in, the water is warm. They're only paying you 6 to 5 on a lot of those tables when you make a blackjack. That's not right. They're supposed to pay you 3 to 2. Okay. So you bet 25, they should be paying you 50. Instead, they're paying you like 30 or whatever it is, right? I'm not doing math right now. All these little things, or the roulette wheel. Okay. You bet on a number on roulette, they pay you 35 to 1. Well, they got 36 numbers and then they got like 3 double zeros on there. So roulette is like the worst game you could ever play. So whenever I hear people like, oh, I lost my ass at roulette, I'm like, well, of course you did, you know? But
all right, your 2 minutes are up, buddy.
Yeah. Do not.
All right, David
Yeah.
Peter.
Dude.
Where can we
Oh,
find you?
man.
What have you
Can
been
we
working
edit that
on?
part
What's
out?
the thought for the week?
Yeah, I'm David Feeder on Twitter and YouTube. Thought for the week is, kind of the same thing everybody else was saying, is try out the testnet. Try out the staking website. They actually just updated that like yesterday. So that's got a new version out there. Looks
I
pretty
have
cool.
an updated video.
I am upset though that they removed the part that shows when the next rotation is going to be. That's missing now, so that sucks. So
Oh, I didn't notice.
yeah. And also I would tell people now's a good time to stack dry powder, have some EUSDC ready, and because Pulse is, it'll be here before you know it's just going to come up one day. It'll just be ready, but we don't know when. So start squirreling away some dry powder now.
And is it true that your beard is going to get its own Twitter handle and start posting on
Dude,
its own?
yes, I will follow.
No, and my beard's not that amazing. When I was next to Aubrey de Grey, his is humongous. Like
You can have an account too.
He has animals hidden inside of
The
his
God
beard. That's
beard.
not fair.
yeah. So that's what I aspire to be. I want to be like Aubrey, but that's going to take 20 more years or another 5. So
Awesome,
I got time.
awesome. Dixon Piper, tell us where we can find you, follow you, subscribe to your videos.
Dixon Piper Chartmaster on Twitter and YouTube. I do more just like price and fundamental, I guess you could say, analysis, a little bit of news. It helps a lot more than new people just understand how the markets work and not just get wrecked sitting in bear markets thinking everything's the bottom, whatever. If you've been in crypto a while, I think you're a lot better off watching David and K4K's videos. Like I personally, when we get into a bull market, I delete Metamask off my computer and I take the lazy route. I don't get on Testnet and I just go watch K4K stuff. So I take the lazy route. If you're not going to get on the Testnet, I recommend
You're gonna want to
watch
stake your
everything.
PulseX though. Come on, it's free yield, dude.
Maybe
It doesn't get easier than that. And
the more I do,
Oh,
the
man.
more attack surface there is. The more I do that has my MetaMask up, the more attack surface there. This is on me. I am a non-active
okay.
investor. I'm a non-active investor, and I probably will. I will stake it. I stake Hex. Hex is the only thing I own other than USDC right now, but I'll probably end up staking it. I don't mess with the liquidity stuff.
Don't do that.
Yield farming, I don't mess with any of that. But I was just getting at there's going to be fortunes made and lost, I think, in the volatility at the start of Pulsechain if people are responsible. And I think if you guys watch K4K's stuff and David's stuff before you watch my price banter, it's probably going to be for the better. But yeah, that's all I got.
Awesome.
It was good meeting you guys.
It was
Goldman,
this
Hex,
was
and Dixon.
a full panel. I think it was really good. We had as many questions inside the panel as we did in chat. I'm never going to bring up flat Earth again, just for this, just for the sake of my plant. I'm just going to let it lie.
Dude, your plants are just necking. They're just like, oh, not again.
Oh shoot! And then join us next week, same time, same channel for another Tech Talk, where we'll have a rousing discussion and be trying to answer as many questions as we can. And hopefully we'll have some more amazing developments. We'll be at 20 or 25 cents by then. That's where I'm going
confirmed
for.
on stream. Let's go.
Awesome.
See.
All right,
The real
hey,
God whales in the chat.
Yeah. Awesome. And thanks for everyone stopping by. We had Valiant Brand and some other people I didn't have a chance to shout out. So
Was he in
thanks
the
again
chat?
for
I thought he was
coming in.
streaming with Crypto Stylist.
He was watching us while he was streaming with her. We're more interesting. So
Wow.
anyways,
Interesting.
have a great week, guys, and we'll talk to you later. See ya.
See you next time.
See you guys.